just so it
Alright, so that's me saying I'm streaming.
Yep, I'm streaming as well.
So now apparently
You are live.
We now have both streams running, so that means right.
Yep,
Okay,
and there's
so that's YouTube telling me again. We're competing with Steven Crowder, so we're fucked.
Oh, well, that happens, but at least I got what looks like a dancing hooker.
That's actually
where my chat should be.
That's not actually a GIF. I made that. That's my thing.
Oh, right. Right on.
Well, I didn't actually do the dancing and film myself. That wasn't me, but the rest of it was. Right, so we can turn her off. Now I need to find links to streams.
I don't know. I kind of like it. Oh, now I'm sad.
I could put her in the middle.
Well. Nah, I wouldn't bother. Although that might be an interesting thing. I mean, sex sells and all that.
Yeah. Come back, dancing girl.
And look, Tablecoon's already joined us.
Right, so we can turn her off. Now I need to
Tablecoon is going to be
links to streams.
Probably going to be our #1 fan for this operation. I don't know. I kind of like it. Oh, now I'm sad.
I could put her in the middle.
Well. Nah, I wouldn't.
Right, I've got to mute that chat because I like Crowder. I actually do like Crowder.
So I never watch the live streams. I prefer the short bits. When it's a single topic. It's one of the reasons I think it's one of the reasons I think I'm going to enjoy doing this thing. Although this thing is completely random.
There we go, dancing girl in the middle now.
Yep. Doing her shaking her money maker. All that good stuff. Oh, damn it. Yeah, I gotta find another box of filter tubes. Give me just a moment.
And of course, I get the YouTube video with the commercial at the front, just to ruin the joke completely. Right, now I've got to make my way to Mitch's channel. Oh, shut up, commercial.
Now, speaking of Steven Crowder, there's a downside here is I can't. Comey, okay.
Alright, Pagan Butterfly says she's. Yep. Oh. There we go. We are working.
Cool. Right on. Hi, Butterfly.
And where the fuck is music coming from?
Or is that Kitten? I don't know if I want to call her Butterfly or Kitten. There's my chat disappeared. On the there it is. Okay.
We are not calling our show Philip.
Yeah, certainly not. Well, Butterfly, we determined that we get into some goofy-ass conversations. And it's sort of a missed opportunity sometimes if we're not live streaming those conversations. So we decided at random times we're going to live stream.
We'll just switch it on and let it go.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ, this box of filter tubes looks like it was beaten by an angry stepfather.
And we'll occasionally drag one of you unwilling bastards in to entertain us.
Oh, yes. Let's see, where's that? All right, now I'm going to test your pencil theory. Which sounds kind of dirty. Oh, doesn't quite fit.
Just that little bit too big.
Yep. Try to straight out an empty cigarette filter tube to build my own damn cigarette. Burp. and burp while I'm doing it because that's
I
what we
will,
do.
however, turn off the dancing girl because the dancing girl is causing lag.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's too high a resolution video.
Damn.
I need to redo the video so that it's more compact.
Wait, there's what music? What the hell is Sakami talking about?
I did
What
have
music?
some. I tried to play the Tales of the Unexpected theme, but it gave me a YouTube video with a fucking 2-minute advert at the beginning with god awful music.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, Fuckwad joined me in my chat. How's it going, Fuckwad?
Right, Mitch's chat, my chat. Right, can you guys play nice together?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Should we tell them my theory about the angry at one of us, but still wants to watch the show?
Yeah.
This is what I think is going to happen eventually. I think eventually either Eric or myself will piss off everyone, and they will not want to feed into one of our channels. They'll want to, like, I'll piss everyone off. So but they still want to watch the show. So they'll all watch on Eric Orr's channel, and my chat will be dead. This is my theory. And I'm waiting for that day because that's going to be hilarious. Wait a second. Okay. Now, how are you able to... Okay, let's find out.
Well, I'm sitting watching your live stream on your channel so I can chat just like everyone else.
Okay. Because I'm watching my live stream on my channel with the volume down. Oh, this is going to be a bitch, isn't it? Let me try something. Nope, that ain't going to work. Hey, let's try that one. And there we go.
Right, the only thing that annoys me is I've got a reading of how many viewers there are on my channel, which is saying 3. I haven't got the same with yours, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
but apparently you've got 4, so we've got a grand total of 7, although I'm watching twice, so, yeah, whoops.
Well, yeah, now I got to go to my proper channel and try to watch the stream from there. Come on. All right.
Yeah, because I've got XSplit here, which displays the chat live. You've got the 20-second delay before you can reply, which kind of blows.
Okay. I've got 3 watching yours and 4 watching mine.
Yeah.
This is going to confuse the hell out of me. You might have another one watching yours.
It's all a communist plot. No, it's far too intricate for a communist plot. They don't think past level 2.
Sorry, but I'm going to agree with Table Coon there. Well, I suppose now that we have people watching while we're on this test, we have to be vaguely entertaining.
Oh, God, yeah, it's Table Coon, isn't it?
Yeah, so now I have to... Oh, Pagan Butterfly wants a wrench. Is that one mine on my channel? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she wants a wrench.
Wrench her.
She wants you to tighten her nuts.
Well, that's another story.
Yeah, probably for another channel. Maybe Chatterbait or something like that.
There you go. Cat Wings. You've been wrenched. All right. Now, what the hell are we talking about?
Comparing subscribers. No, we're not comparing subscribers. We're trying to figure out just how many are viewing us and how many are us viewing each other.
You almost said doing each other, didn't you?
Well, later on.
You sick bastard.
You know, I like it with the lights off, and the lights are on at the moment, so not right now.
Jesus Christ. What are they putting in those filter tubes? You're welcome, kitten. All right. So what's entertaining? What did we talk about before? We talked about the... Actually, let's get Kitten. Do you want to come in and tell us about how that whole situation went?
Oh, the staking down the child.
With the school in her. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Need a second computer. I'm wondering why she needs a second computer. It sounds like she wants to hear our voices and watch porn or something.
Well, hey, hang on. How'd you know what I was doing? Anyway, if she wants to hear our voices, she just has to come into the Discord chat that we're in.
That's true. Someone did once tell me that I should narrate pornography for blind people. And I couldn't do it because I'm a bit of a wordsmith, and I would get bored with using the same old descriptions, and they would probably start to get a bit more
David Attenborough.
Possibly. I couldn't do his voice, although I might try.
And here we see as the male approaches, all stiff
honestly,
and rigid, and the female willingly opens herself up for him as the mating ritual begins.
See, I'm actually more concerned that I'd go more Steve Irwin.
Go on, bloke. Crikey, that bloke's going at it pretty rough. I think I'll go poke him with a stick.
Wait, Table Coon's got more on the...
Well, I've got me thumb in his arse, and he seems a bit pissed off now, so I'm going to have to be real careful here, mate.
Let's see, Table Coon does have a bit of an update on the porn suicide saga.
Yeah, it actually was a suicide, wasn't it? She died from asphyxiation by strangling. Basically, she hung herself. It's not...
Oh, really?
Pagan. Listen, it's not a Google Hangout. You come into the Discord chat, and because we're technologically advanced here, we don't use Google shit now, apart from YouTube.
Well, for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come to Coffee and Trek, Pagan, in Maddie's Discord.
You know, the place we go and hide from everyone. Eventually, yes. I will be setting up a room on my Discord server for doing this, so I just haven't done it yet because I can't be bothered to do the invites and set up permissions and shit.
It can be that's why I've never started a Discord server, in fact. Because I don't want to dick around with all the...
the permissions just seem overly complicated.
You know, I'm not the administrator. I'm just trying to be somewhat entertaining. Yeah, there we go. Looks like she joined us.
Hello.
Groovy. Holy hell.
I can't see the live chat, but I can at least hear you two. So.
Oh, groovy.
Well, you don't have to see the live chat. I mean, we've got strange people like this pagan butterfly kitten person who just doesn't really say anything of any value in it, so it's hardly worth reading. Now, my chat, on the other hand, that's a bit more lively. Mitch, you really need to have a word with your subs.
No, I don't. I don't tell them what to do. You know, what they do is up to them. You know, that's their business.
I'm just waiting until they're all sitting watching this and seeing both chats, and they're having I'll change one of the text colors to red and one to blue, and they'll just be having wars back and forth across the screen, and we'll just be trying to keep our heads down.
Now, if we could just have an animation of one or both of us ducking from time to time. Don't do it. I'm not serious about that.
No, because that'd be hours worth of work. Fuck that.
Yeah, screw it.
I could just imagine each username having a cannon, and it just shoots a laser beam at whoever they're taking a shot at in reply to. And it's a point scoring system.
See, Fuckwad took up the challenge and made a face.
No. Fuckwad's going all feminism, and that's Jazz Hands. It's his way of applauding.
No, Jazz Hands is not feminist. Jazz Hands is a dance thing that the feminists are trying to co-opt. I know many a dancer who have no interest in feminism, and these are lady dancers, by the way, but they are enormously tickled by the concept of jazz hands. It has nothing to do with feminism. I want to make that perfectly clear. You know, I will speak up in defense of the jazz hands.
Jazz hands seems to be one of them dance moves that you only ever see people do when they're very, very drunk.
Kind of. But I'm talking, it's a thing in professional dance.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, now that we've got the kitten here, kitten, tell us this story again from the beginning.
Okay, basically what happened was the school wanted me to attend a meeting with them, and I happened to miss it. I had to take Wolfie off to his drop-off point, so I had to miss it. So they sent me home a packet in the mail, or not the mail, but with my daughter. And in the packet, it gives all her stats and all that other good stuff. However, it was a behavioral evaluation, basically, is what it was. And their very first suggestion to help alleviate whatever, distraction that she may very well be doing is to put on a weighted vest on her and tape around her desk so that she'll see her boundaries, so she won't come out of that boundaries. So basically, today I just tore the school a new asshole. Excuse me.
So you had. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry again because I forgot my question. Please go on.
I was gonna say, but no, I was not gonna allow them to abuse my child and stigmatize her in the classroom that way. A lot of people that I've talked to, including you and Ericor and everybody else throughout the Discord, have found that that's very illogical. It's very unethical, and I agree.
It strikes me as being very pro-bully.
You know what? And here's another thing that I kind of slightly mentioned this to my other children. I didn't go into it fully, but even they said, just with what I said, they said, why does the school want to bully her? Yeah. Mind you, they range between 11, 10, and 8, the others that I told this to. Each and every one of them get the concept that is bullying.
I mean, the thing is, these are teachers. They're professionals who work with children, and that's their professional.
Wait. They're air quote professionals.
But even so, they've been children themselves as well, and that surely they have to know that any difference any one child has, the rest of the children are going to be a cunt to them. That's just the way kids are.
And when some ill-mannered adult goes around and starts pointing out these differences.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough for a kid wearing glasses or a kid that's got red hair. But then you go and intentionally put like a weighted vest on them.
It's like you might as well paint a fucking target on the kid.
Well, you're actually doing is giving all of the other kids permission to pick on them because you're in the position of authority and you say this is okay to do now.
Right. And I brought that to a point. I was like, look, all you're going to do is socially stigmatize my child. And then I'm going to have to deal with the damage when she comes home because she's been made fun of if I allow you to do that. And we're not doing that. Exactly. The first lady that I talked to this morning, she just could not get it. She could not get it through her head. I was not going to allow this to happen. And somebody else called me later in the day. She's actually what does she call herself? She's her quote unquote official title here.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Director of Special Education called me, okay? And she's the one that finally got what I was saying. She goes, no, I get it. She goes, as a parent myself, she goes, we're not going to do those things, and we're not going to have to do those things. She goes, if there's something else that we can try, we can do that. I said, that's all I ask. I was like, but when you guys first bring up that's the first solution that you guys have on the table, I can't tell you how infuriated do you think you would be if that was the first thing that was brought to your table.
This is how you can spot this. This is how you can spot the staff members that don't actually have children, but everything they know comes from a book.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I want to interject something, a non sequitur, pretty quick, just to let everyone in both chats know. I've switched to all caps because we've got one guy who's in my chat who has vision problems, and if you type in all caps, he can read it.
Ah, okay.
I just want to let everyone know that's why I'm in all caps, because I don't want people thinking I'm just shouting for the sake of shouting.
Even though he does.
Sometimes I do that. Yeah, sometimes I do shout for the sake of shouting, like I would at these idiots at the school. I mean, I'm fucking nobody, and I know what a screwed up idea that is.
Well, I'm the sort of person
Yeah,
that first woman I would have got the point around to her was, how about I get you a henna tattoo that you have to wear on your forehead for the day, and the henna tattoo reads slut, and you have to sit in the staff room with all of the other teachers with the word slut on your forehead. You'd expect to get some jokes fired off at you. You'd expect to maybe get a little bit of ribbing for it. When you're a kid, that ribbing means a hell of a lot more than what it would be to you because you're a grown-up and can handle it. It's the same theory, though.
Right.
But in this case, the school did back down.
Right. After the director of special education called me, and she was all confused as to what was going on. She knew I talked to the special education teacher,
the director of modern child mistreatment.
Yeah, but the special education teacher, I could not get it through her head, like why I was not going to allow this to happen. She kept going, well, this can benefit her. This can benefit her. And I'm like, no, it's not going to benefit her. So finally, when the director called me,
that's bullshit. It's going to benefit the teacher.
Right. That benefit the teacher that can't handle her.
I don't know if you're old enough to remember, Kitten, but years ago, you know how they have how a lot of the kids are on Ritalin and whatnot now for the ADHD. Yeah. It's being like overdiagnosed.
From what I understand, Ritalin was taken off the market. They've just moved them on to something else now. But they are still on it.
Well, right. you know what they did. Ritalin got a bad rap, so they added a probably like a help me out here. They probably added an antacid to the formula and changed its name.
Yeah, rebranded.
But I bet it's the same. I bet it's basically the same stuff as Ritalin. It's some sort of a psychotropic.
Right.
Hey, Mariel.
Well, I've heard Karen Straughn's take on that whole thing, and they're basically saying what they're doing is they're drugging the natural instinct of boys to be boys to make them more like girls. Because girls are quite happy to sit and learn and do fancy things and work things out, whereas boys want to actually be out doing things.
I think I'm gonna be weird here and say I think that's a little too agenda driven. It does.
It might be, and Karen Strachan does explain it way better than I just did.
Okay, well, see, I think it's what I was getting at though, before I lose track of that thought. Teachers used to be able to recommend putting a kid on Ritalin, and it was taken seriously. And essentially, what it comes down to is, or was then, that teachers were attempting to drug children into compliance.
Mm-hmm.
And still are.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, the problem with the sexuality thing is the 6-year-old I have is a girl. So I have all girls. So there's no reason that, for them to drug her. There's no reason for them to do the things that they want to do to her. That's just who she is.
Yeah.
And
that's what I mean.
Well, like I say, I'm in a similar boat. I've got a daughter that's on the autistic spectrum. She's very mild. I'm not going to try and make out that she's one of the really severe cases. She's very mild. She functions really well, but she's still autistic, and it's quite obvious. So we end up having all sorts of interesting issues come up with that as well. And there was talk about drugging her. I was going, hang on, you won't even diagnose her, but you want to drug her. What the fuck?
Right.
Right,
and it's not just boys, it's kids.
Yeah.
Kids have a lot of energy. Boys have a bit more energy that winds up getting pent up and has no release, sure.
Tablecun's
But
just
girls
nailed
have
it there.
that kind of energy too.
You just nailed it, Tablecun. Teachers today treat boys as defective girls.
Pretty much. But there is a kind of sexist angle to it as well. I'm just saying that when it comes to drugging the kids into compliance, or essentially making it physically impossible for the kid to move around so much. Basically, that's just like one step away from strapping a kid down.
Well, it is really. But do you know where I think this whole drugging thing, the rise of it, has actually come from? It's because so much has been legislated that a kid can burn the school down. You can't do shit to them. You're not allowed to punish them in any way. The only thing you are actually allowed to do is say, "Oh, well done, Johnny. That was a lovely fire."
Right.
And reward them for it.
What
so
you did.
They just have to drug them so that they're zombies in order to control them, because they've got no other means of doing it.
Right. And this, really, when you think about it, between the Ritalin, between the duct tape, between using leather straps and brass fittings to strap a kid to their desk, that's just sophisticated child abuse, isn't it?
That's Clockwork Orange.
Yes. I'm kind of left in a place where I want to tell the schools to grow the fuck up, because the kids are just being kids. Right. I'm not saying it like, he's 7-year-olds and he pinched her butt. That should be corrected. That should be corrected a bit, but it's not the kind of way that's going to get the kid on a fucking registry.
No, right. The way you correct a 7-year-old pinching of butt is you get the person whose butt was pinched to turn around and slap the 7-year-old. They soon figure out that, oh, maybe I shouldn't pinch butts.
Right. It's very much a goose and gander situation, isn't it?
These lessons have a way of naturally teaching themselves.
Yes, but no. We have these people who, many of whom I believe lack any kind of sense of control when they're dealing with adults, so they go into teaching.
Yeah.
And the only way they can have any sense of control or dominance in their lives is to essentially take it out on children.
Lord it over some 6-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
In a way, I do actually have sympathy for the teachers, because they've got to follow guidelines that have been made up by somebody who doesn't do their job and has no idea what their job involves.
Yes, I agree there too. I do have enormous sympathy for teachers who are good teachers and who are trapped in a system that has gone completely overboard.
And the good ones don't get paid nearly enough. And the bad ones don't get fired.
Yes. Fuckwad makes a good point. All these teachers love drugging kids with Ritalin, but break out a nugget of weed once and boom, your ass is out of there. And there's some truth to that, isn't there? Ritalin and the drugs used to treat ADHD are basically psychotropics.
Well, yeah, they are.
Marijuana's not that. They're using Schedule I narcotics on your children.
Whereas, to be honest, I'd be quite happy to light a joint up and pass it around the classroom. By the time that joint was gone, everybody would be having a great old time, and they'd probably learn a hell of a lot more than they would have normally.
Possibly.
You're probably right.
I wouldn't be doing that with 6-year-olds.
Well, no, obviously not.
But,
Right, little Johnny, today we're going to learn a free skin roll.
No, see, for a 6-year-old, you use the brownies.
No, gingerbread men. Not the gumdrop buttons.
But at some point in a student's career, there's just some stuff that is way less interesting than anything than the view outside the window at the empty schoolyard.
Geography, cough.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing. This school, I don't know what happened to their planning, but there is no windows on this school except for the front door and the back doors.
Well, I would actually. Is it a more recently built school?
I'm not sure. I do know that it's an independent school. Okay. That's about all I know.
See, I gotta wonder about that, because it sounds like That just sounds like another school to prison pipeline kind of situation to me.
Yeah, there's no windows except for on the front door and the back doors. That's it.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I'm tired of schools being set up like prisons. Like we've created an environment in our schools now where it's very much a state institution, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And once they get out of a state institution, it's not so surprising that being put back into a state institution provides some kind of a sense of comfort because, hey, I grew up in this.
Well, the school system is also geared towards teaching kids how to pass tests to then get the school more money. And it's kind of on a two-track system. If you're one of the ones that performs well, you get fast-tracked to Harvard or Yale or into some university somewhere. And if you're not doing so well, you just get swept away and forgotten.
Right. But I remember being in high school, and my high school on one side, on the older side, didn't have any windows. But on the newer side, they did. Now, the summer that I actually left the high school, they actually was starting to cut out places to put windows in the building. So I guess they have found that putting windows in helps. I don't know.
I do seem to remember some study that I either read or heard about years back that said that natural light is far more effective for learning than fluorescent. And well-lit classrooms tend to perform better.
Right. But they didn't start doing windows, and that school had been standing there for many, many, many years. My mother went to that high school. My dad went to that high school. I went to that high school. Thankfully, my children won't have to go to that high school because it's just a bucket of shit, too. So, but...
It's a family reunion. Your brothers are on, Mitch.
So...
Let's see. We got Jack T. Ripper joining us. and Jack, sort of my namesake in a way. Jack writes, John Stuart Mill wrote about the public fool system and what it's really for. And I'm not familiar with that name, Jack. Can you give me a just a
quick synopsis,
a short Reader's Digest version?
Yeah.
I mean, I got two windows open as it is. I'm afraid that I'll overtax my system if I look into anything.
A quick synopsis, 220 characters or less.
Mr. Mitch.
Hey, I like my computer the way it is. There's just a certain point you get where you don't fuck with anything any longer, and you just let it run its course. I'm at that point with my system.
Yeah, you're giving it a workout and you don't push it.
You can only slam your dick in the sliding glass door so many times before you realize, hey, I'd better stop.
Unless you're into that sort of thing.
Right.
Oh God, so many issues with our school system. It's incredible.
Oh, we could do a 6-hour stream just on the education system. I'm pretty sure of it, and then still have loads left to say after.
And I'm tired of schools asking for money.
Well,
when a school asks for money, I think we ought to have a law on the books that states that the school, in asking for money through like a millage or a tax increase, anything like that, if they're going to ask for money, they should be required to open up their books to public scrutiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't they have to anyway?
You have to go through a process. You probably have to go through a process like a Freedom of Information Act request to get what is supposed to be public information in the first place. And the Freedom of Information Act request system is just another way for digging up money from the public.
I've got no problem if a school does things like bake sales and shit like that because they're providing a service in exchange for money. They're actually kind of earning the money that they're bringing in, but when they're just going, we want more money, please, city ordinance, pass us something that just takes it and we don't have to do anything for it.
Right. Let's see. Gunny responded to Jack, said, so did Henry Ford. We want them just smart enough to know which button to push and not thinking for themselves. Let's see. Jack says John Stuart Mill was a socialist writer in the mid-1800s on liberty and the subjection of women. I don't know if that's subjection or supposed to be subjugation. But either way, the point is made, I suppose.
Right. Well, and that's not the first school system issue I've had with all of my children. Last year, they went to a different school on the next town over because that's where we live. And of course, in the fall time, towards the winter, we always have the lice issue that goes through the schools rampant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I dealt with my kids having lice. We got them all cleaned up, right? Because they all had it. They got it from school. Got them all cleaned up. No. And what ended up happening is we kept checking them and cleaning them and getting it all out. Finally get it all out. Sent them to school. The nurse checked them so they could go to class. And the very, very next day, the school calls me to pick up one of my twins, saying that she has lice again. I run through her hair. I didn't find a thing. I didn't find an empty egg. I didn't find the nit. I didn't find the louse. Nothing. These guys were picking on my kids because all my kids were getting checked before anybody else in the classroom. I told each and every one of them, from now on, I don't care what your teacher says. I don't care what the principal says. It's like, unless you are last, you will not be checked. I said, because I will not have you guys check first because they think you are the ones that brought it in. After that incident, that one of my children came home with a clean head, I went down and I tore their asses a brand new one because they were picking on them. They were picking on them. I said, I do not appreciate you picking on my children. And the president was like, well, I'm assuring you we're not picking on your child. I was like, you are when you send my child home with a clean head. I said, I didn't do a damn thing to her head. Not a damn thing. All I did was comb through it and look for anything, and there was nothing in her head. And you guys sent her home saying she had lice. I said, that's not happening. So when we moved, of course, they got to move school. So.
Do you know what actually baffles me? We've got all of this technology and all of these medications and everything else, but we still haven't found a way to keep head lice away.
Haven't found a way to keep head lice away. We haven't found a way to eradicate roaches. I mean...
Well, we've done a similar thing with cats and dogs. I mean, there's a product called Frontline. You dab it on them, and for 3 months, they don't get fleas. Why have we not come up with something similar for children?
Because it's a moneymaker.
Yeah, exactly. There's more money in treating the symptom than there is in curing the disease.
Oh, yeah, that probably is true.
Let's see, I got more stuff.
There's about 20 zillion shampoos, all of which are ridiculously expensive.
Right. Oh, they even have what they call like a liquid lotion for the lice. It's $150 a bottle.
Oh, horseshit. You know what you want? You know what I bet you this will kill the lice. Regular, no bullshit, Blue Dawn dish soap.
Actually,
I bet you that will kill the lice.
It doesn't.
What we use when our kids end up getting it is I use vinegar and baking soda in a paste, and I put it in their hair. I let it dry, and then I'll pour vinegar back over their hair to reconstitute, make it fuzz up again.
Yeah.
And of course, that lifts them off the hair, and so when I rinse them off, they fall out of their hair.
Oh, okay. That, better than spending $150, isn't it?
Right. It paralyzes them and it gets rid of them. So
let's see. Gunny writes, United States spends more money on education per year than the top 10 countries spend on defense, excluding the U.S. Let's see. Jack writes, a general state, he's quoting Mill here, I believe. A general state of education is a mere contrivance, and for molding people into being exactly like one another, and as the mold, that which casts them is that which pleases the predominant power in government, whether this be a monarch, priesthood, an aristocracy, or the majority of the existing generation. And that sounds about right.
Which is terrifying, consider looking at the current snowflake generation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? We have In proportion as it is efficient and successful, it establishes a despotism over the mind, leading by natural tendency to one over the body.
End quote.
And yeah, that's pretty much what our education system is. It's basically a indoctrination system, which is, I mean, let's face it. Everything that can be described as an authority, government, church, just like the quote says, they find no value in teaching the people to think for themselves. Or rather, they find no value in people who do think for themselves. So their natural inclination to maintain authority and power is to prevent people from thinking for themselves so that they can maintain that authority and power in perpetuity.
And the ones that we do want to be able to think for themselves, well, they go through private education where their thinking for themselves is still restricted to think for themselves in the way we want them to think for themselves.
Exactly.
That made sense in my head, but I wouldn't even like to try and repeat it.
Yeah, you think I'm going to try to repeat everything that I said that ended with the phrase in perpetuity? Fuck that. I'll never remember that. That's why we record the live stream, though, isn't it?
The most important thing you will ever say, and you'll never remember it again.
Yep, absolutely. And it's just it's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a hell of a thing for, as a parent, I would assume, it's a hell of a thing to have to fight against on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, NATO needs to die. NATO needs to go away.
That's what I keep telling my son. He's 16 at the moment. It's all like, your school's giving you the opportunities because they have to, but they ain't going to help you. You have to do the work.
Yep.
I mean, he's one of them kids that gets in trouble for asking questions. And when he does that, I go into him and say, well, what question did he ask? Well, blah, 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 blah. And did you give him an answer? Well, no, the question was disrespectful. I said, well, there's no such thing as a disrespectful question. It's a plea for information. You're in the job of giving children information. So why didn't you do your job?
Mm-hmm.
At which point they stare at you.
Yeah, usually. Mm-hmm. Or they distract. Yeah, but his English scores were down as well.
Okay, so why didn't you give him the information?
Yeah, exactly. The distractions, they just can't answer, so they're just sort of squirrel.
Yeah. Armageddon.
Oh yeah, I made the mistake of showing Mitch that last night.
Oh man. Oh, it just kept getting better and better. That's a different story though. Oh, and it's infuriating, isn't it? Yeah, guys. I don't know how this happened, but in my chat we've moved on to the UN and NATO, and yes, they both need to go away.
And in my chat we're talking about gummy weed and who will defend the Germans. This is most bizarre having two separate streams of chat going on.
Here's the other one. Fuckwad says, I got in trouble for sleeping or not paying attention in class and still got 90s on the test.
That's a lot of problem. That's also a big problem with the education system is you've got kids that are literally bored to shit with what they're being taught because it's too... They've got them brains that it all just gets taken in easily. There's no real processing needed. It's right, okay, that makes sense. On we go. And they just insist on droning on for a week about the most minute points, and the kids get bored, and they'll either A, go to sleep, which would be, if you're the teacher, that's the preferable option, or they start acting out.
See, I had a, what was it? It was in the 4th grade. And I had a teacher who inspired more eye rolls than I've ever had in my life. Because this teacher, her last name was Daum, D-A-U-M. And for some reason, every time her name came up, she had to tell us all the story about how Daum means thumb in German. And, oh, fuck, we're 9 years old. We don't care.
You told us once it was interesting then, but yeah, we really don't care now.
Yeah, it was an interesting aside for about 2 seconds 4 months ago. You've told us the story 73 times now. For fuck's sake. Move on. Move on to multiplication.
Right. That's another thing, is she does know how to perform. I mean, she does. She gets pretty good grades. It's just the fact that she gets bored, and then she doesn't want to perform. And then she doesn't want to perform when they want her to perform.
Yeah, I have the same problem with the autistic daughter. She takes information in so easily, especially with math and English. She takes it in so easily that it just clicks because math and English is pretty black and white.
Right.
She's all right with black and white. It's when there's shades of grey that she struggles, but that's autism in general.
Yeah.
Right.
And so she gets bored because it's, that's simple, makes sense. And then they say, well, practice it 150 times, but I don't need to. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Right. I know this now. I don't need to practice it. Let's do something else. But you need to practice it, and then it just gets into a clash. And
well, yeah, oh God, that's the thing. I kind of figure on that whole thing about getting in trouble for not paying attention or sleeping in class. I figure if you're getting above the 90 percentile on your tests, then the class may be too slow for you.
Yeah.
And maybe you should have some other kind of an activity where you could otherwise engage yourself so you're not disturbing the rest of the class.
Or you should be up a year higher or 2 years higher for something that is actually a challenge to you, that you are actually engaging and learning. And math is racist and sexist. Only whites and Asians can do math. Jack, you forgot about the Jews.
Yes. That's what I don't get. You can't tailor children to an education system. You have to tailor an education system to the children as individuals.
That's all right having a rough plan, but out of a 20-student class, there's only going to be maybe 5 that are in line with that rough plan. You'll get the other ones that will either outperform or underperform.
Right. I mean, my argument is that the system should be designed to challenge people in the subject at the level they're at. Like when I was 9 years old, I was already reading at a high school reading level, apparently, but I was still stuck reading the stupid shit that I had to read because all the other students had to read it.
Well, that's the thing. She's pretty much on point. She's a little behind on math, which, again, I've said it before. I was never really good at math either.
How old is she?
So she is 6.
Well, at that age, that's nothing.
Right, but she's a little behind in the math. But other than that, I mean, her reading is above average for her grade level. She's about halfway to 2nd grade level in the 1st grade, but that's not high enough for them.
Well, no, because they're all interested in making sure they get their funding for next year.
Yes.
Right.
That's the other thing is, let's see. I want to read what Zero Unknown wrote first. This is why I'm generally against public education. It becomes too inefficient at handling the load of students with all having unique challenges. Well, it wouldn't if they went into it organized from the beginning.
Well,
I mean, you have to have an organized system, and yeah, the child's age might be a good starting point with figuring out where placement should go, or how the placement should be handled. But once it becomes apparent that a 9-year-old can do algebra, maybe the 4th grade math classes just aren't enough for that kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still say class sizes are a huge thing as well, because I grew up in a small town. The entire year group of kids my age amounted to 23 in our class at the maximum. Usually it hovered around 20, but we'd get someone come and go. I moved from there to a school where there was 600 people in my age group, and Granted, there was a difference between the US education system and the UK education system, but I noticed in general that the standard dropped because they were just regurgitating facts. They didn't have the time to actually focus on that one kid who's really struggling, or to focus on the one kid who's doing really well and get something better for that kid to be doing. Whereas in the smaller class size, yeah, well, Johnny over there, he's brilliant at maths. We need to put him up at 5th grade level. But little Ethel over there, she might do well with that room with the flavored windows. Just saying. And everybody got what they needed, and everybody came up. I mean, even the dumb kid in my school over in the States has turned out all right.
Yeah. On one of the enterprise tests that they performed in here, they were trying to do algebra with her, operations and algebraic thinking. Out of a 0 to 100, she did get a 17. Why are you giving a 6-year-old algebra?
Well, how do you know she can do it or not if you don't test it?
Right.
I understand that, but still.
I mean, if they're giving it to the 6-year-old as a regular assignment, that's a bit weird.
But as a one-off test, just to say, right, here's a challenge, can you do it? And that's a different thing.
Yeah.
I suppose. I've
got no problem with that method. I've got no problem with that method. Here's a challenge. Have a crack at it. See how well you do.
Right. I hate to cut y'all short, but I got kids to put to bed, and I gotta get Wolfie on the phone so he can tell them good night.
Oh, it's all right. We'll still be here. You're the one going.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll talk to y'all later.
Right on. Thanks for popping in, Kitten.
You're welcome.
Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Fuckskiowski.
Fuckskiowski? What is that, Polish?
Something like that.
But it's disturbing that, again, no one like me has a better understanding of how to handle kids than these people who are supposed to be professionals, at least in an educational setting.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things you got to know about kids to begin with. Generally, kids want to do what someone older than them is doing.
Yeah.
So you use that.
You may know this. I don't. I'm just guessing here and basically asking a question. I would have thought that one of the first criteria for being a teacher would be maybe not a degree, because that's probably going a bit too far, but a very strong element in child psychology.
Or at least a basic understanding of how people operate at different ages.
Yeah.
You know, I'll
give you the example. You can recognize what little Johnny's doing. Oh, yeah, that's pretty normal for his age.
Like you know, when you have someone in the age range of like 2 to 5,
yeah,
and you're cooking and doing stuff around the house, they basically want to do what you're doing. You know, they want to be a part of what's going on.
Oh yeah, the easiest way to make a kid happy is buy them a toy vacuum cleaner, and they just go along behind you while you're using the real one. They're as happy as a pig in shit.
Well, yeah, that's one example. But I did it a different way. I use that as an opportunity to teach my niece a couple things.
Well, yeah, as you do.
You know, when it comes to like cooking something, you start with hey, Princess Buttercup, you start with this stuff, you put it in the pan, you cook it a little bit, then you add this other stuff. I teach her a couple of things like that.
Yeah.
And plus, knowing that kids want to do what adults are doing, I took it a step further and I gave her a love of broccoli. Because every time I'd cook for her, I'd cook for myself at the same time, and I'd put my portion aside and throw some broccoli in there, and I'd look at her and go, "Gotta have my broccoli," and I just keep going. And after a couple of weeks, she started saying, "You gotta have your broccoli." And I'm like, "Yep." Then another couple of weeks, she wanted to try the broccoli.
Gunny's just posted something, and I really want to know what he meant by that, because my mind has read it a completely different way.
What, except for helping dad pay child support?
Yeah, I could just imagine the kid's living with dad, but he's still paying the mother child support because feminism.
Well, no, I think that's more of a visitation thing.
Yeah. But it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't happen. The kid's being looked after by dad. He's providing everything for it, but the mother's still claiming child support.
Well, yeah, that's a thing that I've witnessed a little bit, to be honest. Oh yeah, Zero Unknown makes perfect point. It's almost like the trick to being a parent, or the trick to parenting is to be a parent. Exactly. You know, you gotta have a focus on the kids. I don't care you feel like having your nails done. I don't care you want to go out and work on the car.
The bigger problem is that, especially, I noticed a lot of it over the 90s and the stuff that was on TV. They were teaching parents that your job is not to be the parent, your job is to be their friend.
Yeah.
And I don't fall into that. I say, yeah, I'll be your mate, but this is my line. Do not cross it. You'll see a side of me you don't like. And my kids are like, okay, that's fine.
And again, like fuckwad writes, you know, a lot of parents are looking for things to babysit their kids for them, especially if it's something they don't have to pay twice for. Instead of a babysitter, the iPad.
Or CBBC or Nickelodeon
or PBS or, you know, whatever's on TV.
The amount of arguments I used to have with my ex about that because she turned the TV on at 9 in the morning, sit the kid in front of it and then do fuck all. I thought, what good is that doing the kid? If you watch the stuff that's on, it's about a fucking stuffed bear who can't figure out how to tie his own shoes up, yet we're supposed to believe that he's a secret agent. You're teaching our kid to be stupid.
Yes, again, when it comes to kids, they have that thing where they want to do what someone older is doing. So if you have a show about teenagers, that show is usually aimed at kids around 10 years old. You know, that's the logical way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so that the kids have something to look up to and to something to aspire to.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you had the Power Rangers were all apparently teenagers. Really, they're closer to their 30s. But you know, they're all supposed to be teenagers, and that's why you have a bunch of 8-year-olds who like to watch the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a martial arts. That show wasn't violent. That show wasn't violent for the sake of violence. It was violent.
There's been so many shows that we grew up on that you could have said the same. MacGyver, the A-Team.
Yeah.
The Airwolf and Blue Thunder and all. It was all things that you could aspire to become because they weren't that far-fetched.
Right. You know, yeah, I watched Airwolf, man. I wanted to fly a helicopter when I was a kid. Then I find out what it takes to fly a helicopter, and I'm like a little bit older now. I'm going, no, maybe not. Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I've never even ridden in one, but still, my point stands.
I think I've been up about twice.
It gives you something to aspire to. But you know, I read a lot as a kid, so it developed in me the love for language. You know, that's why I'm a little bit of a wordsmith. I don't write for shit. I mean, that's just because I don't practice. You know, I don't sit and write for hours on end. If I did, I'd probably have 50 books out, but they wouldn't be like Twilight, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. What did Zero write up here?
A-Team suck Special Forces my ass. They couldn't hit the hot side of a barn. Well, yeah, very true.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff about the A-Team that is just, you know, that whole thing about the 5 years ago, a crack commando unit was sentenced to a military prison for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped a high-security stockade and escaped to the Los Angeles underground, where they got hired to weld on foreign cars to turn them into tanks. It appears they've only worked in the motor pool. You know, it's
and the amount of sheet metal they put on it would have broken the axle anyway, but they didn't. But that's details.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's.
I mean, you got the guy from West Coast Customs just watching and going, "Oh fuck."
And see,
I was watching one of the. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the Star Trek convention interviews and stuff recently like that. They had one with Marina Sirtis and Dwight Schultz on, And Dwight Schultz was saying his experience on the A-Team was among his most horrible experiences in acting because it was so unprofessional. Nobody knew what they were doing, and nobody really liked each other there.
Oh, that's too bad.
And he says then he went into TNG, and he was so like, "Oh my God, this is so wonderful! Please, can I come back?"
Yeah.
So if I was in the area and I happened to be available, they'd write me in, and it was just the most amazing experience I've ever had.
Well, yeah, because Barclay was a likable character. You know, even though he was a total social outcast, but an absolutely likable character and someone with whom you could identify.
And probably a lot of people did, because I'm not gonna label all Star Trek fans as nerds, but there is a certain demographic who are.
Yes.
And there is definitely something where you said, "Hey, he's just like me. I can do that." There is a certain amount to that argument from the feminists. There is a certain amount that I can go, well, that is a valid point. It's just how they set about doing it.
Well, right. You know, with the Next Generation, we got the one character, Barclay, who was a social outcast.
Yeah.
And that's something most people can relate to. So, yeah, it's good to see your own voice in the show you like. Same thing's true of feminism. You know, I can't think of anyone who had an issue with Dr. Crusher being in command of the Enterprise for a shift.
No.
You know, when they had that episode when that showed the shift where she was in command, and I don't think anyone had a problem with that. It was another element of character building.
And it was also kind of accepted that if you gained a certain rank, that's the sort of shit you're expected to do anyway.
Right. I mean, she did have the rank of commander. She was a full commander right from the get-go. You know, it's not unusual at all. You know, when in the final episode when she was the commander of the Pasteur, no one had an issue with that. You know, there wasn't a big men's rights group trying to block passage to a stadium or to a center to hear someone speak because Dr. Crusher had her own command.
No, but TNG never made it about she needs to be a captain because vagina. It was always about she needs to be a captain because she's the best person for that job.
Right. Because she's a doctor and she has the rank, and you know, let's put her in command of a medical ship. It makes sense.
I mean, that's basically how Janeway ended up with Voyager. It just kind of went a bit tits up.
Kinda, yeah. And I'll always, it bothers me about Voyager that everyone's like, finally a lady captain, and I'm like, no, there's a problem here. Why don't you see it? And I'll tell you what that problem is. And this is something the feminists should actually complain about, and I would be behind them. The original Star Trek, you had Captain Kirk. He sat in the center chair.
Yeah.
Star Trek The Next Generation, Captain Picard. He sat in the center chair. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Captain Benjamin Sisko. Had the big office in Ops, but on the Defiant, he sat in the center chair. Captain Janeway on Star Trek Voyager sat on a command bench where she was not in the center chair. The first officer and her shared the center. Bullshit.
Yeah,
Janeway should have been in the center chair.
It's kind of I kind of have the same problem with the Orville. That's about the only real problem I have with the way the Orville is set up.
Yeah, I don't like the bridge layout.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if the captain's male or female. The captain belongs in the center seat. That's how it works. It's a subtle reminder to everyone. This is the person in charge.
Well, as far as Starship bridges go, I think the Enterprise D's work the best.
Oh, it was a pretty good layout.
Yeah, you had your captain, you had your first officer right next to him, and you had Deanna Troi on the other side, who I'm not quite sure who would have filled her place on another Galaxy class ship. Whether that would have
been,
I think that probably would have been Data. That probably would have been Data.
Well, yes, but he was also manning the operations console, so it's So yeah, like in fact, they made a change in Voyager on the bridge that made a little more sense too. They had the pilot forward center, They did the same thing on the Defiant. The pilot was forward center of the captain center.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It makes sense to have the operations.
Yeah, there's that weird feeling of being misaligned geographically if you're piloting a ship while you're facing sideways.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense that, yeah, you're right in the middle of the big window while you're flying the ship.
Yes. I mean, that's how it should have been with Sulu. Sulu should have been center forward. And Chekhov, I never understood the thing about a pilot and a navigator. Because if the pilot can't navigate, get a different job, pal.
Yeah, because they combined those in Next Generation. I mean, that all fell down to Wesley Crusher. He'd set the course and he'd set the engines going.
Yeah.
Data just dealt with everything else going on the ship.
Yep. And it just makes more sense to have the pilot front and center.
Yeah.
And the captain command, that just in the genuine center of the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, I never really understood what Chekhov's role actually was that couldn't have been combined with Sulu's role.
Well, that position was called navigator back then, but
I think it basically turned into Worf's position of security officer because Chekhov's duties were basically arming torpedoes and phasers, which Worf now does from the back of the bridge.
Right. And again, in a central position in relation to the view screen.
Yeah.
Yes, Chekhov did also man the weapons. It was a weird combo. I think it was like a utility slot. And that's why it was probably eventually changed to operations. Is because, I mean, navigate, weapons, some security type duties, turning around to look at Captain Kirk in a reusable cutscene. Oh, okay. Well, military. Okay, Gunny tells me that any military plane has a navigator and a pilot.
Is that the same in naval vessels? Because the reason I make that distinction is Starfleet seems to be laid out and designed on naval tradition rather than Air Force.
Yes. So yeah, there is a bit of a difference there, but I have to defer to Gunny too. I mean, he's got a genuine military background.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking him if it's the same on naval vessels.
Okay, we need someone from the Navy in the chat. God damn it!
From the Navy, come and join our fucking chat. From the Navy, we'll even give you a hat.
No hats.
That's about it. It's not Wacky Hat Friday yet.
Right. But anyway, yeah, that's the thing the feminists really should have been going on about, and I'd have been behind them 100%. Janeway should have been in the center seat.
Well, that's not even a feminist issue. That's just a because it looks right issue, because it feels right issue.
Well, it is a feminist issue, I would say, because it wasn't until Voyager that they had done that.
Right, yeah, true.
They make all the things, look, we have a lady captain.
Anytime you'd seen a lady captain in TNG, they were always in the center seat.
Yes.
Rachel Garrett, center seat.
Yep.
That one black one, whose name I can never remember, but appeared a couple of times, was always in the center seat on her bridge.
Yes, as it should be.
Because if you're the commanding officer, you need to be able to be visible to everybody at all times. And they need to be able to look directly at you instead of being distracted by the person off to your left, who's probably picking their nose at the time or whatever.
Well, plus, just imagine that situation. You and your first officer are on the command bench. God, I hate that expression, but that's what it is. And you look at the captain to receive orders, and if you even glance at the first officer, the captain is going to have a bit of a...
Is this person second guessing me?
Yes. Exactly. It's going to kill the captain's confidence in themselves. And it's probably going to put the first officer in a position to be like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And it's just a bad idea all the way around. Let's see, any logger long distance plane has a nav and pilot, military, commercial. I think. Are you saying logger?
Well, non-commercial airlines, they have the pilot, the co-pilot, and the navigator, any of which can fly the plane if needed. And they all eat separate food.
Well, yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, they do. They all eat separate food because that's the rule, and it's a good rule. Oh, any large long-distance plane has a nav and pilot, military or commercial. Yes, they do.
Yeah, we were asking, do you happen to know about the military setup? Not military, the naval setup. Is there a navigator and, for lack of a better term, pilot? Because I don't think it's called a pilot on a ship, is it?
Yeah, I think it is actually. I mean, because you don't drive a boat, you pilot a boat. And that's, same thing for a submarine. You pilot a submarine, if I'm not mistaken. But, I could see where in something like, especially as a submariner, okay, you're going to run, there's a good chance you could run into all kinds of obstructions underwater.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I could see where there might be a separate navigator to be, because, if the pilot has to maneuver around something, I could see where the navigator would be like, okay, you're 2 points off course, or, something to that. 2 degrees off course, turn to starboard. Okay, hold it there.
So ships have a navigator, a quartermaster, and an operations specialist. Right, so you got your operations, which is Commander Data's post. You've got your navigator, which has been combined with pilot on Star Trek. So that would be your Wesley Crusher or Cute Blonde of the Week. The quartermaster, what would be the equivalent of that?
I don't think they ever got into the quartermaster type thing on Star Trek. Not really. I mean, they did as a couple of side characters who were never on screen.
I think, if anything, that would fall under Commander Riker because he organizes all of the heads of department, so that would fall under him.
Well, the quartermaster is also in charge of inventory in stores. Making sure ship stores are stocked up every time they make port.
Yeah, but that'd be Commander Riker then.
I don't know if that would be Riker. That might be Data. That sounds more like an operations thing.
It could. Data certainly be more suited to handle it because he's a computer. But I think on a general starship, if you take away the Data, who's a unique individual, and you take Troy out, who's also somewhat unique, and just put regular humans or regular aliens on the bridge.
Let's see, the quartermaster was an enlisted rank. Quartermasters in the Navy are not in supply. Okay. What do they do, Jack? Because I always figured the quartermasters were in charge of making sure the ship was stocked up.
That's a fair point. O'Brien, maybe. He ran the cargo bays in a few episodes. I think Chief O'Brien was one of them characters that just put in charge of whatever they needed somebody in charge of for plot purposes. Because he was in engineering, but then he was in the transporter rooms, and then he was in cargo, and quartermaster helped with plotting. It may be an obsolete profession then by that point, because so many star maps from 200 years of exploration, there's not a great deal new.
Right. I mean, as far as in the Star Trek universe, that could be a position that's no longer required.
Yeah, the computer does.
I mean, like they completely. This is one thing I miss about the original series is they had Commodores and fleet captains.
Yeah.
After commanding the Enterprise, Chris Pike was promoted to fleet captain when he got bombarded with the Delta radiation. And they had any number of Commodores.
Yeah.
Who were either causing trouble or
barking orders dicks. At Kirk. Yeah.
That's what I miss, man. I do miss that Commodore rank because it seemed to make a little more sense than just going straight from Captain to Admiral.
Yeah, it does seem like a natural fit for a halfway point between the two.
Yeah. I mean, it was Commodore Bob Wesley who was in charge of the USS. I can't remember which ship that blew up. That they used to blow up the Planet Killer.
Oh, I can't remember either.
I wanted to say Defiant, but that was in the episode with the Tholians. But never mind all that.
Oh, my coffee died.
Oh, no. Well, you know that expression, if your coffee's gone cold, it's time to stop working.
My coffee's gone empty, so it's definitely time to stop working. Right, my apologies to anybody on the stream. You're going to hear some really weird noises for a couple of minutes. That's just me making hot water.
These things happen.
Yeah.
Janeway was a backbencher. That's a good way to put it, Table Coon. Constellation, that's correct. Table Coon nailed it. It was the USS Constellation.
Oh, God, yeah, when Kirk was absolutely crippled and Kirk managed to get it going.
Yeah, sorry, the fluids overpowered you. That sounded all kinds of wrong and dirty.
Bukaki. Yeah, I remember the episode now because the Constellation had been absolutely crippled, hadn't it?
Yeah. And you know what? That was actually William Wyndham who played Commodore Wesley. He did a fucking brilliant job acting in that episode, didn't he?
It was actually. I mean, the way he played that character was brilliant. He was a little bit dickish, but a little bit scared, and he just played it really, really well.
Well, no, just from the moment McCoy hit him with that hypo, when they found him on the Constellation, and he was just absolutely in shock and freaked out about losing his crew and everything. I mean, it was William Wyndham just brilliantly acted that out. And then when he took command of the Enterprise, it was a character. It was an advance in the character that made sense because of that performance earlier. You know, he was. You know, that thing had become his white whale.
And there was also the story arc running behind it. I know what I'm doing. Yes, I've lost one ship doing it, but I was on the right line, and I'm going to do it. And everybody's going, no, your way is not going to work. And he's going, yes, it will. No, it won't. Yes, it. And it went through like that until Kirk eventually dressed it down, which
I've only got one thing to say to you, Commodore.
That's my damn ship.
Stationed aboard the USS Constellation, right on. COs are always dickish. They kind of have to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so anyway. I mean, you have to have that professional distance. You know, you can't be viewed as playing favorites or anything like that. You have to be. But you kind of have to be. It's like being on guard all the time.
Yeah. That raises another interesting question that I've always kind of wondered. I mean, I know most of the ships in Star Trek are named after actual military vessels that are either in service or have been in the past. Yep. But I'm wondering how many newly commissioned military vessels, you know, like battleships and whatnot, actually get named because there was an incidental ship that flew past in one scene in TNG. And it was called the Danube, for example, because I can't think of another name at the moment. And that's how the latest battleship to roll off of the shipyards and be commissioned by the military got its name because it was on Star Trek, and there's a certain amount of swapping back and forth between the two.
Possibly. I mean, like the first American space shuttle was named after the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah.
And what you don't see in Star Trek, you don't see the USS Ronald Reagan, for example. It's like they almost go out of their way not to name those Star Trek ships after existing craft that are named after
people
who have been around fairly recently.
Yeah, if they name a ship after a person, it's something like the USS Kirk.
Right.
Or you don't even USS Cochrane or whatever.
Right. But you don't even see like a USS Nimitz in Star Trek. Which kind of shocks me. I figured they would. Since it was around during World War II in that one movie.
Yeah.
The Final Countdown. That's a good movie. Have you ever seen that one? It was filmed in like 1981 with Martin Sheen, Frank something or other. What was his fate? Not Michael Douglas, the other one. His father. Kirk Douglas.
Oh, God, they name ships after politicians now. Could you imagine the USS Donald Trump and all the SJWs trying to swim out to it with dinghies and bottle rockets sinking it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I really do not like them naming ships after politicians.
Unless a politician has done something extremely noteworthy. I mean, like I could understand something like the Lincoln or the Washington. Or
right. But or even the Franklin. Shit. But not the Ronald Reagan. I mean, that just sounds like a USS. It sounds like a political maneuver.
Yeah, the USS Obama. It's like, why?
Yeah. I would rather see ships named after military personnel who have done extraordinary things.
The USS Schwarzkopf.
That seems more fitting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, like the USS Mattis. Well, yeah, Jack brings up something there where he says subs are named after cities and states, and there is a practice in naming vessels of a certain class in a similar way. Like the Danube class runabouts are all named after rivers.
Yeah.
Yangtze Kiang, the Rio Grande, the Orinoco. Those were all named after rivers. And I think in Star Trek, the Saber class ships had a tendency to be named after bladed weapons of some sort. There'd be like the katana, the claymore, things of that nature.
Yeah.
The rapier.
The USS Obama would be a fuel tender.
Frigates, destroyers, and cruisers are named after people, battles, or related stuff. Okay. Now, see, there is a pattern to the naming of these things. Apparently, aircraft carriers are named after people. Except for the Enterprise. The Enterprise was not named after a people.
Oh, there's a few of them that wasn't named after. Maji Yamato. Or Yamato might be a person, I don't know. It sounds like a last
Enterprise, name. Wasn't the Enterprise also the first nuclear sub?
Nuclear vessel.
Nuclear vessel. I can't remember if it was the first.
The Gay Phrase are named after marine battlefields, so I mean, I know it's not the right thing, but it'd be like the Dunkirk or the...
Yes, nor the Intrepid. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff in military history and military practice. It really is.
You know what? We shouldn't be making fuckwad type all this. We should just drag him in.
Oh, we could.
He could educate us.
If he wants to. I mean, it's up to him. The Enterprise was the first nuclear carrier. Okay. I'm glad I have some memory. Actually, there's a lot of expressions that we use. Okay, yeah, Nautilus was the first nuclear sub. Now, I don't know if you're talking about an actual nuclear sub called the Nautilus after 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or if you're actually referencing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Because I believe that Nautilus was also a nuclear sub before that technology had actually been achieved.
Actually, USS Nautilus SSN 571. So it's actually a real ship.
Okay.
Was the world's first operational nuclear-powered submarine. This vessel was the first submarine to complete a submerged transit of the North Pole on the 3rd of August 1958. Shared the name with the fictional submarine in Jules Verne's classic 20,000 Leagues, and named after another USS Nautilus, SS-168, that served with distinction in World War II.
Oh, okay. But I was saying a lot of our expressions that we use every day come from naval expressions.
Yeah.
I believe "cash on the barrelhead" is one of them.
That's one I've never heard.
You never heard that one?
Never heard that one.
Huh. I believe that comes from a practice on merchant ships. Son of a gun. A practice on merchant ships when it came time to pay your crew, you'd roll out a barrel and have the guy in charge of the money dole out the pay on the cash on the barrelhead.
Ah.
Okay, now Jack's going to go through every fucking expression in the book.
Most of which we'll just say, huh? And then, of course, I'll be forced to resort to Google.
Right. I believe the expression "getting down to brass tacks" is one that is not naval. I believe that comes from shoemaking.
Yeah, that one does.
Because that was the last step in affixing the sole of a shoe to the body of the shoe. And that was the last step before the shoe was ready to be put into use. Like, how you coming? I'm getting down to brass tacks.
I mean, there's a lot of sayings that people either plain flat out don't know the ideology of it, or they have learned the wrong one.
Right.
Maddie would have to change your rank in Discord for what?
To get into our chat, apparently.
No, I should be able to just drag him in, because I've got full rank there.
Yeah, just
join any one of the other rooms, fuckwad. I'll bring you in.
Yeah, you should be able to be dragged in by one of us. But it's an interesting thing, you know, that when you with all those expressions that come locked out of all the chats. Well, that's just weird.
Except for this one, because I've just dragged him in.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Hello.
Hello. Ahoy there.
Oh, God, don't do that. Lopez. You've been waiting to throw Lopez at me, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
I don't understand the affection people have for the Lopez gag.
It's the way you say it.
Yeah, it has to be delivered a certain way, or it just doesn't work.
Something about your voice and the way you say it just makes it perfect.
Lopez.
I can't remember who it was, but it was a couple of years back when I first started watching all the Skeptic community stuff on YouTube. I can't remember who it was, but they basically put out a video saying, I want everybody to send me a video clip of themselves saying the word cunt. And he got all of the big people in, like Bearing and Dr. Random Account. Sargon didn't do it for some reason, but Shuan Head did it. There was a load of them did it. And he basically edited up a video to the Catmac Smash McSnatch song. You are a cunt, a great big stupid cunt. And he edited all that together, and I could just imagine doing something similar, just getting people to send in a video clip of themselves saying, Lopez!
Lopez! I could see that. But shit, even Ronan's gone around and started spreading the Lopez thing. That cracks me up. You got people out there who don't even listen to me out there shouting Lopez. I need to make a T-shirt and a coffee mug and a hat. I was
going to say, you need to open a Teespring.
Yeah.
That's sell on its own.
Turns out that Lopez is my secret to success. Lopez!
That and farts that make strangers sweat.
Yeah. Suit yourself, Doctor of Cuntology. Hello, I'm your local cuntologist. I would like to talk to you about vaginal health. Okay, why did we bring Fuckwad in? What was he going to tell us all about?
He was going to teach us all about ship naming.
Oh, the ship naming.
Yeah, because he's typing a hell of a lot of stuff in there, so it's a case of I figured it'd be easy for him to just say it.
I believe that was Jack.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'll teach me. I'm trying to pay attention to two charts. We'll ignore the fact that one of them hasn't moved in the last half hour, but I'm trying to pay attention to two, and that is my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, God. Well, now, look, since we do have the three of us, what kind of a ship would the USS Obama be if it were accurately named?
A rowboat.
Garbage scow?
Laundry ship?
No, it would actually be an inner tube with a plank strapped across it and a Cuban on the top.
With Castro on top. Selling Che Guevara t-shirts.
With U.S. tax money.
Handing out communist literature to all the dolphins they pass. And
it would be built with U.S. tax money and oh God, commissioned via executive order. Because no one in their right mind would fucking vote for it. Even the morons we have in Congress now. Pelosi. Jesus, bilge.
I mean, to be honest...
Gunny's one-word answer is bilge.
To be honest, out of all of the recent presidents that we've had, I honestly do think Reagan is the only one that would actually be worthy of having a ship named after him.
And still, I don't like the practice of naming a ship after a politician. It's just a thing. It bothers me.
Like I say, it's only if they've done something exceptional while they were in office.
It would have to be pretty exceptional, even though they do have the military.
Exceptional outside office. Like Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, yeah, but Teddy Roosevelt was a member of the military prior to taking office, wasn't he?
So were a lot of the presidents.
I mean, Reagan wasn't, to my knowledge anyway. I might be wrong about that.
No, I don't think Reagan ever did do military, so I'll look that up. Seeing as how I have Wikipedia open.
Bear in mind that the U.S. president does have a military rank that's commander-in-chief. But it's almost like it's honorary. Well, it is honorary. It's only while he's a sitting president. So, President Obama, yes, was technically commander-in-chief of the military. So, yeah, if he had done something great, technically it would fall under, doing something great as a member of the military. But it doesn't count as far as I'm concerned because it's not strictly military, that position.
After completing 14 home study Army extension courses, Reagan enlisted in the Army Enlisted Reserve and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Officer Reserve Corps of the Cavalry on May 25th, 1937. So, yeah, Reagan's had military service as well.
Okay. That makes it a little bit better for the way my head says things should work.
I mean, it goes on for about another 4 paragraphs, but...
Communicates strictly through Obama phones crewed by overweight, gender-confused college students. I can see that.
Oh, hello, Allie. That's a friend of mine.
Clearly. But you know, that's what I'm getting at is while the president of the United States does have a military position, I don't think of it as as genuine military, if you know what I mean.
It's an honorary title for the time that he holds that chair.
Yeah.
If it was a real position, he'd keep it after.
You know, it'd be like some college giving me an honorary doctorate in prickology.
Communicate strictly through Obama phones.
It's a neat thing to hang on the wall, but it's essentially meaningless.
Yeah. Communicate strictly through Obama phones, so they only work now and again.
Yes. God, so many things wrong with that guy as president.
I didn't like... The thing with Obama is I was actually quite surprised he survived his inauguration. Because I honestly did expect that there was going to be that one person, because I mean, we're generally not a racist country, but there are crackpots out there.
Yes, there are.
And I thought Obama was going to be when one of them would come out.
I didn't really expect that, because I don't think America is as racist as the racists want us to believe it.
Oh, no, it definitely isn't. But there's always one.
Well, yeah, of course there's always one.
All it takes is one.
That's true. Let's see, only 26 of the 44 presidents have served in the military. And that's my thing, you know.
That's actually a lot lower than I'd have thought.
Before one becomes president, if they volunteer to serve in our military, that's a thing. You know, it's volunteering for it. Not everyone does. And,
well, some of the presidents were also state militia back when they still had that.
Oh, that's true.
So that counts.
Which they now call.
There was a whole thing about, oh, well, Trump never served in the military, but yeah, he did. It was very short-lived, but he did serve. He went to a military academy and did some service.
That I was not aware of. But then again, you know, military service is not a make or break proposition for me for president.
No, exactly.
Because, you know, as much as I respect the military, I'm not fool enough to believe that the military is beginning, middle, and end of freedom.
Oh, no.
Sorry for saying that to anyone in the military who doesn't understand what I mean by that.
Well, basically, to be honest, the military should be the last line of defense.
Well, no, I like my position on the military. The military should be the first line of defense. Because if someone's dumb enough to actually invade America, we got some fucked up people who would not qualify for military service who will take care of your ass.
Yeah, true.
That's one thing the world needs to understand about America. We have some fucked up people, and we just let them do their thing. You know, because generally they're not hurting anybody. I'm not talking about the serial killers and the horse rapists or anything like that. I'm talking about the guys who are just out in the woods with their still, making their moonshine, having a good old time, not bothering anybody. But, you know, you get an invading army who goes up into those woods, they're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're just people. I don't care how big your army is. There are people in America you don't fuck with because your army will diminish just by virtue of going up against them.
What the fuck? The 200-meter hurdle is a superior race. All other races are inferior.
I don't even know what that means.
It's actually quite brilliant, but to try and explain it would just, one, it would kill it, and two...
Hi.
I actually prefer the 100-yard dash myself.
Oh, it's Maddie.
Yeah, it's me.
It's
Maddie, we gotta tell you, we're live streaming.
We are live.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying go away. I'm just saying be aware in case you say something embarrassing.
Hi, Maddie.
So get all of your expletives out of your system now.
Yeah.
You forget I was on the cancer stream with Liz. There's nothing I won't say.
Oh, okay. That works too.
And just think this time, Maddie, you can take down 2 channels at once.
I think I finally got all the audio levels set and everything working for Sunday. So we might actually have a smooth debut of the radio theater. Hopefully.
Oh, groovy. See, what we're doing now is we're still Ericor and I are a bit more in the testing phase still. Mm-hmm. And it is more Ericor than I, because he's handling the technical side, and I'm just here to be a pretty voice, I suppose, and to occasionally say Lopez for Fuckwad's entertainment. But we're actually streaming on both channels right now.
I see that. Or see the chats going. I'm on your channel right now, where I see like both chats going.
Yes.
This is neat. Okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out a thing, because it's like we keep saying, when we're all of us grouped together in a chat, we just start talking about shit and it gets funny as hell. And someone invariably says, "Why aren't we streaming this?"
Well, now we can.
Well, now we are.
We're basically using the Discord audio system for the audio feed, so there's no real bother with people being too low or people being too high.
Yeah.
It just works out simpler.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just drag
exploits in my Discord where we tickle everybody's funny bone and it's never recorded.
And we can drag people like Fuckwad in to mock him mercilessly.
Yes. Exactly. But now that we got Fuckwad and Maddie here, we can talk about other stuff, and I don't know what it is.
Me neither, because I haven't gone much past Ronald Reagan. That sounded like a really filthy laugh, Maddie. Do you care to share the joke?
Look, I always walk into the middle of something. That's why I literally nicknamed Coffee Talk to WTF I walk into.
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
Actually, Gunny makes. I don't know if Gunny's. I don't know if Gunny's referring to the military or those people within the United States borders who are going to fuck up any invading army. But he says we are for when diplomacy fails.
I'll tell you what, if there is an invading force, the army worries, because the military, they do have certain standards that they do try to keep to, even in battle. You get some redneck out in the woods with a still and a shotgun, he ain't gonna stick to no...
couple of things in the air. Go ahead. But, come into my backyard.
I love how the stream says, so have we come up with a name for this yet?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we sat for 3 days trying to come up with a name for the damn thing. And we never got there.
Like one I proposed, I'll type it in my chat.
Well, you can always call it Coffee and Poppycock. Poppycock exploits in Discord.
Coffee and Poppycock.
Yeah, exploits in Discord.
God damn it! I keep doing this wrong.
Or even Poppy and Coffeecock. I am not being Poppy.
There. That's the name I proposed. That I just put in my chat.
Ah. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of a double entendre, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like we're going to get to the bottom of somebody's, secret identity, but no.
Yeah. So this Saturday, I have a very, very serious question. Serious question now. 2 o'clock this afternoon.
But it's only
Thursday. Do we want
Thursday.
to do exploits in Lotro, or do we want to do the first chapter on my channel of the Red Shirt Diaries?
I'm down for the Red Shirt Diaries. I mean, I think that was obvious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What time did you say Saturday?
Usually 2 o'clock Eastern is when I start my gaming stream, but I could start it later depending on schedules.
Work till 3 on Saturday.
How about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time then?
I think, to be honest, you need to schedule your stuff and let everybody else fit around you.
Yeah, but he's a patron of mine, so I've got to,
Well, I would get home at about 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
character is still level 1.
Been there.
Oh God, you've just sent my mind in Tablecon has once again sent my mind in a completely different direction. He goes, "Oh, I fully plan on raping all invaders," and it's just made me think. So that explains why the little ship at the bottom of Space Invaders back in the 1980s always looked like a block with a penis.
Oh, yeah. I had never made that correction. Treasure of the Sahara Madi. That's actually a pretty clever name.
We shall defeat them using the forces of Bukaki.
They should make any invading army watch the movies Deliverance and Red Dawn. Combining the two.
Oh God, just combine them into Red Deliverance.
Now that actually sounds like a feminist film.
I mean, it would give a whole new meaning to that battle cry from Red Dawn. Wolverines!
It's like a certain somebody we know with another type of alien theme was trying to figure out a new name for his series. And I said, how about USO? He goes, what does that sound? What does that stand for? I said, unidentified skeptical object.
Huh, yeah.
Oh my God. Fooling you likes cream of one young boy. And remember, too young in China is just a name.
I
like that one.
Isn't that supposed to be the cream of some young guy? Oh, whichever. It works either way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Wasn't there somebody who fooled and like it was somebody big like NBC? And they made up this disaster with a load of Chinese.
It was the plane crash.
Something Wong and.
Yeah, there was a pilot named Holy Fook.
I can't believe they read that on air. That was priceless.
Oh God, that's the media. They're that stupid. They not only are they that stupid, but they're that willing to report something without looking into it, without confirming the source.
Oh, I'd love to even know where.
And we're supposed to believe the Russians. We're supposed to believe the Russians, most of whom, if you watch YouTube, can't even fucking drive. Are responsible for hacking our election? Bite me.
Right. Holy. Yeah. They don't give us near enough credit, and most people give the mainstream media too much damn credit.
Right. I mean, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because of the Russians that fucking Hillary Clinton lost the election. It's because of Hillary Clinton that Hillary Clinton lost the election. It's because of the DNC as a whole.
Yeah.
Because once everyone caught on to what they were doing with Bernie Sanders, it became a case of fuck those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we can't admit that, can we?
No, it's not that I want. It will be
This week in Hillary Clinton's blame game. Gunny's got a point. He trusts Putin more at this point than our own
Names of the
government.
4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Li Fook, and Bang Ding Ao.
A TV station has landed itself in some hot water over some racially offensive fake pilot names.
Is this the same Russia we knew about 20, 30 years ago? What is going on here? What am I missing?
Oh, yeah. Eric, of course, got the pilots' names.
Yeah, I found the clip.
Plane crash that happened last week in San Francisco. They put a reporter on air to confirm the name of the 4 pilots.
Jesus Christ. I can't even hear. I wonder, can anyone hear the video or?
Yeah, I can.
On the stream, you'll be able to. I just can't play it through Discord.
Okay.
On board. Now
Yep,
you only
he
have
found
to
it.
listen to the clip once to realize
The only way to be able to do that is
these names are not correct. Names such as
Captain
because when I was on another stream, we were all watching the same video at the same time, and I can't remember the name of the website.
Obviously, it's a very sad story. It was a tragedy.
I know the name you mean.
It was a tragedy. And that people
I can't think of it either.
Bang Ding Owl. we too low.
My question is, how did this
it's just that's
the stupidity of the media is just, for our entertainment at this particular point in time.
Yeah.
Something bad happens in the news, I start the countdown until Sam Hyde gets blamed.
Yeah, no kidding. Or Donald Trump even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for fuck's sake.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to put the link in the Discord. I found it. All I had to do is go to another server because Mocha uses it all the time.
Oh, groovy.
All right.
You did a what in Discord?
I'm going to put a link in the...
She just moved herself.
Click the wrong thing, yeah. Move itself. In miscellaneous game chat, I stuck the link together.
Gonna have to get that trapdoor fixed.
Every once in a while. Every once in a while, a blonde hair infiltrates my brunette nature.
Jack is correct. That's one of the greatest news trolls of all time. And Evil Gunny quite rightly points out industrial media complex.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that actually kind of the start of 4chan's? I wouldn't exactly call it a campaign, but they do tend to like to fuck the media up when they can.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of their first efforts?
I'm not sure if it was.
I've lost track of all their efforts.
They've done so many of them. It's just kind of like, let's make them look like idiots again.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. When it comes to our media, 4chan is right to do so.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
They're actually performing a public service and doing it, to be totally honest.
Oh, yeah. I like how Table Coon describes it. The Dems are upset that their attempt to hack the election failed.
Yep.
That I went, considering how often we see the left launch accusations at other people for things that they're doing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wonder if that is in fact entirely accurate.
Well, it does seem that it doesn't matter whether it's the political stuff like the DNC or whether it's just the snowflakes at the protests. It's all about projection.
Yes.
Oh, do you know you can't call them a snowflake anymore? It hurts their mental state.
Good.
Don't care. Their mental state should be hurt. It should be challenged. I say this to religious people a lot, and generally, I genuinely have no problem with anyone's religion. You believe what you want. That's your right. That's how America works. But I will, on occasion, challenge your religion. Not to be a dick, but if I know someone who's a Christian. And being a Christian is their thing, I want them to be more Christian, better Christian, And one of the best ways to strengthen someone's faith is to challenge it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
A faith unchallenged is weak.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with any idea in general. If an idea is good, it will take a challenge, it will withstand a challenge, and it'll come out stronger at the other side of it.
Exactly. I'm not digging around for that gotcha moment, but I will ask, hey, how many Christians pray for Satan's redemption?
Good point.
And and the argument that came back at me, because I say argument, but it was really just a little discussion. And the response to that was, well, that that's supposed to be a thing that can't be fixed. That's part of the thing that God put in place that simply is and will never change. And my response to that was, does that mean you can't pray for the redemption still?
Yeah. Well, see, I have a small little theory that has upset some and confused others. Yep. After Lucifer's fall, who we now know as Satan, God said, "Hey, I got a job for you. See how many people you can turn from me. We're going to test my faithful." And somebody looked at me and said, "That's a divided house. That can't stand." I said, "No, it's not." That's Dad telling one of his kids what to do.
Yeah, that's not a divided house at all.
Mm-mm.
Again, that's actually yes, Jack. George Carlin said that too.
In fact, Satan isn't seen as evil until the Persian influence on Judeo-Christianity.
Yep.
Because before that, Satan was literally just the adversary. He was an angel whose job was to test humanity.
Yep.
Yeah.
They forget about that part.
Yeah, but you got to have the boogeyman for people to fear to keep them in line.
Yeah, I think the Yiddish name for Satan actually translates into the adversary or the advocate.
Well, even the word, I believe it's the word heresy, has a root that means free thinker.
Let me look up now you got me looking up the etymology. Oh.
Could you please explain the etymology of that idiom? If you attempt to ignite a petroleum substance at midnight, the fire suppression system will seal off this entire compartment.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, All Good Things, Part 1.
Correct.
It was what Data said to O'Brien in engineering.
Yep. I always loved that line. I thought that is just perfect. That is perfect Data.
Well, it was a perfect throwback to early Data. It was brilliant. Tablecon says it's straight from Job.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Latin word. This is from Etymology Online. I love this website. The Latin word is from Greek heresis, a taking or choosing for oneself, a choice, a means of taking, a deliberate plan, purpose, philosophical sect, or school. That's heresy.
Oh, okay. I'm close.
Mm-hmm. You were in the ballpark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, heresy literally means deciding for yourself and not following the church.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, that's another one. I love to do this. And this one is a little bit of the prick in me making itself known when it comes to having these conversations with Christians. When they say America is a Christian nation, I like to ask, what's the last thing the Bible said about freedom of religion?
Satan is female because a guy can't tempt shit. Hitler's here. He disagrees.
Han Solo was the best character in Star Trek. Q was the best character in Battlestar Galactica.
I was like, I loved my mom because she will argue she's got the Bible memorized. Not because she's a Bible thumper, but because she grew up in a Catholic family, and I guess that was a staple. When she was arguing with somebody, and this person was one of those Baptists that, you can't drink and you don't smoke and all that is a sin and all that crap and everything. And my mom asked her one simple question. She goes, "All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but according to your Baptist ways, it is a sin to drink. Yes. Then why did God turn the water into wine?" He could have turned it into orange juice, milk, anything. Turn it into wine.
Now, let me ask you this, since you were recently at etymology.com. Look up the word wine.
Wine?
Because I believe it is also a fruit juice.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Alcohol content. I think the alcohol content is not a requirement for it to be wine.
Yeah, it's kind of like cider. You've got hard and soft, and I think back then it was all soft. Or the majority of it was. The peasant wine was, anyway.
Well, the
English win or wine from Proto-Germanic winam, also Old Saxon, Old Frisian, Old High German, Old Norse, Dutch, or German. In Wein, W-E-I-N. An early borrowing from Latin vinum, from pie, were related to words for wine in Greek. It doesn't say anything about fruit juice.
Oh, okay. At least not in etymology. Now let's try a dictionary.
Okay.
Are you checking it or am I?
You can do the dictionary. I'll do the etymology.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to figure out what the difference, how vastly different the two are.
I'll go with Wikipedia then.
Mm-hmm. It's usually when I'm feeling like in a debunking mood for an SJW or feminist argument and they're tit for tat on words, I'm like, oh, okay, let me go to etymology.com. Because I know they use dictionary.com. Unfortunately, they have, as I like to put it, infected the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah.
Merriam-Webster's next.
Let's see. I don't want contemporary examples. There we go. But overall, it does specify fermentation.
Okay. Yeah, I've got something here. The earliest evidence of a grape-based fermented drink was found in China, 7,000 BC, Georgia from 6,000 BC, and Iran from 5,000 BC. So yeah, it would have been an alcoholic beverage at the time that Jesus went around.
Yep.
All right, I get to be wrong. I love it. I'm not upset about being wrong. It happens. Yeah, it doesn't hurt me any.
It's always nice to be around people that don't agree with you all the time.
Well, it's not a question of agreement. I like having more accurate facts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I go into anything with I'm pretty certain about what I'm saying, but I'm always open to being wrong.
Yeah.
Right. I'm perfectly fine with being wrong because it's just another way to be right. Seriously, I mean, if you want to be right all the time, just admit when you're wrong. It's the right thing to do. It's that simple. Too bad more people can't adopt it.
And you gain an awful lot more respect for holding your hands up and saying, yep, I got that wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care. I don't care about respect from other people. I care about respecting myself. I can't respect myself if I'm continually bouncing around with the wrong idea.
No, that's true. But on a platform like this, where you develop an audience, if you turn around and say, I told you something and it was wrong, I'll hold my hand up and admit I told you something wrong. The people who are watching you gain more respect for you, and that's how you... I mean,
sure. I wish politicians,
Yeah, definitely.
Politicians could do that. Gloria Allred. She's not a politician, but she's a politician.
That's the one thing that irritates me the most about politicians, though, is they're always so certain that this is going to work. You never get one of them say, right, we've got this idea, we're not sure if it'll work or not, but we're just going to let you know that we're going to try it. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, please bear with us. And you'd be more likely to go along with that and say, yeah, it could fuck up, but they're working on it. At least they're being honest with us about the fact that it might fuck up. Instead of saying, oh yeah, this is a foolproof plan, and then it goes tits up like a bomb of care.
Right, because no matter the endeavor, there's always the rule of unintended consequences.
Yeah.
The American welfare system.
Yeah, I mean, I just want somebody who's going to be honest with me.
Yeah.
Is it really that much to ask? I mean, for fuck's sake.
For some people, it is a lot to ask.
It's the ignorant person that cannot move on with the facts. Or go ahead, Maddie. I know you're itching to throw that quote out. I know which quote you're thinking of.
What? Oh, my favorite Doctor Who.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not. I gotta look it. I always have to look it up because I want to get it just right.
The very powerful and the very stupid.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Much along the same lines of fate protects little children in ships called Enterprise.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see.
I know Riker said it. Didn't Kirk also say it at one point as well?
Yep.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, here we go. The very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. They don't alter their views to fit the facts. They alter the facts to fit their views, which can be uncomfortable if you happen to be one of the facts that needs altering.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's exactly what's happening all around us. American news. Well, not just the American news media, but news media in general.
Yep.
I don't know when the media decided that it was their position to push an agenda.
I think it's always been.
I honestly think that came about when the cable explosion and news networks going 24/7.
No,
they ran out of facts to talk about, so they went into analysis, and eventually it became more analysis than fact. And with analysis, you end up with narratives.
And then you have Obama in his office, if I remember correctly, kind of relaxed the laws on reporting and allowed a certain amount of propaganda.
Well, Jack T. Ripper is heading off, so catch you later, and thanks for joining.
Good night, Jack.
Night, Jack.
Well, mind you, President Obama also investigated the press. You know, he dug into the press. You know, President Trump never did that. At least not that we know of.
No, he's got enough problem being yelled at every time he calls CNN fake news.
I think that there was something about Obama did something in legislation with the press that allowed the left to distribute propaganda. I can't remember the details, but it was a series of things that they did which allowed them to basically pass out propaganda, and there was nothing that could be done.
Let me see here.
Right.
Foreignpolicy.com. So take this as a grain of salt. This is dated July 14th, 2013. For decades, a so-called anti-propaganda law prevented the U.S. government's mammoth broadcasting arm from delivering programming to American audiences. But on July 2nd, that came silently to an end with the implementation of a law reform passed in January. The result, an unleashing of thousands of hours per week of government-funded radio and TV programs. For decades, a so-called anti-propaganda law prevented U.S. government's... hang on. The result... Boy, I love it when they repeat themselves. Let me see. TV programs for domestic U.S. consumption in a reform initially criticized as a green light for U.S. domestic propaganda efforts. So what's happened? And they go, until this month, the vast ocean of U.S. programming produced by the Broadcasting Board of Governors, such as Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, /Radio Liberty, and the Middle East Broadcasting Networks, could only be viewed or listened to at broadcast quality in foreign countries. The programming varies in tone and quality, but its breadth is vast. It's viewed in more than 100 countries and 61 languages. So that's one thing that happened.
Well, yeah, that's that is very much opening the door to propagandize things.
And that's exactly what we've seen happen.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we've seen it happen even more, but I think you're onto something. I think it became more prolific with cable and the 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
Well, CNN basically.
It was probably more fringe before that.
Well, I think CNN once again is the prime example. It became the Democratic Broadcasting Network.
Yeah, basically.
CNN, the Commie News Network, Clinton News Network,
Cunts News Network,
Cant News Network,
the contrived news network.
Yeah.
And it's
CNN, citation not needed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing for us. We're not calling ourselves news. We just do commentary, but we're honest about it. God, there's so much. Fox News does the same thing. Breitbart's got a political bent to it as well.
I'm just sort of here. If anybody believes anything that I say, then they're a fucking idiot, not me.
Yeah.
The trick is picking out the facts and leaving the propaganda behind.
Yeah. And it's sad that you have to sift through their bullshit to come to anything that is even close to being factual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Obama did like to bend the Constitution over.
Yep.
Just to respond to what Abel Kuhn wrote there.
And that pen never ran out of ink.
Nope.
I wonder if that's what he called Michelle when they were asleep at night. Oh, Constitution, come over here and bend over so I can fuck you up the ass again.
I doubt he ever spoke to Michelle like that because Obama was really the first lady.
Yeah, Michelle definitely wore the trousers, didn't she? Michael, whatever.
It's more like he would turn back looking at her and say, "Call me Constitution."
Well, brace yourself, I'm just being a prick now. Dry.
Well, I mean, it's easy to be a prick when you're talking about Obama, and it's because he did so much shit wrong.
Yes. You know, he treated the office of the president like it was the office of king.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I mean, that's why everybody kept saying whoever he appointed to the cabinet was the new czar.
Which, when you look at the
flying around for ages.
Yeah.
But when you look at the mentality of the Democratic Party, that's the way they saw it. This is ours forever. Nobody is ever going to be able to take it away.
Yeah.
And look what happened. And I still don't have full confidence in President Trump, to be honest. I mean, we still have Obamacare.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is also due to some of the Republicans in Congress, too. To be fair, you got to spread that blame.
Oh, yes, it is.
I always thought when Trump said that he's going to repeal Obamacare and replace it with something else in his first 100 days, I thought that ain't going to happen. No. With all the best will in the world, there is that much red tape and bullshit to go through that it's going to take you at least a year.
Not to mention everybody that is disagreeing with him getting rid of it to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm
completely right. I'm completely on board with getting rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at the moment, they're in a holding position where they're now seeing it failing in places, and they're like, "Look, it's failing now. You want me to do something? Right? Shut the fuck up and let me get on with my job."
Yeah. What always got me was, and a couple of people told me that I was full of crap, but those were my friends that were, as I like to say, taken in by Obama's charm and smile and occasional joke, whether or not that joke was any good.
And weird purple lips.
Yeah. Because I said, instead of, this whole overblown Obamacare, they would have saved tons of money by just assigning an oversight committee to look at all the problems in Medicare and Medicaid and come up with solutions to close the loopholes and prevent fraud and go after these people causing fraud.
Yep. Well, here's what would happen with that, though. They would find the loopholes. They would find the people guilty of fraud. And they would prosecute the people guilty of fraud. And the expenses for medical treatment would go down, but the prices would have remained.
Yeah.
Because prices, when the government gets involved, prices never go down.
Yeah.
Plus, that's
not the fault of the government necessarily.
Plus, it's third-party businesses providing the insurance, and they're not going to want to lose profit, so they're not going to put the prices down, especially if they can see they can make another $1.
Yeah, and then you have the problem with the fact that you've got federal healthcare laws, and this was before Obamacare, and individual state healthcare laws. So you can go from one state to another traveling, and the coverage that you have in state A doesn't necessarily mean it equates to having the same coverage in state B.
Correct. And that's one of my other issues. I'm all for repealing the Affordable Care Act. I am not for replacing it with something else. Repeal that, get rid of the government restrictions on interstate commerce for health insurance. In fact, we need to work toward doing away with the necessity for health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we really need to do.
The insurance was always the problem, and Obamacare only made it worse.
Exactly.
Well, I think Obamacare was actually designed to line people's pockets rather than actually help anyone.
Well, of course it was. I mean, and everyone knew it. Everyone still knows it.
I remember.
Oh, the wall. Apparently, the wall is still in process. I've not heard much about it recently, though.
No, he's still planning on that one. I think he's stubborn enough to get it to go through one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do I.
There was, when I was working at the convenience store, somebody had come in and given us a small little stack of stapled together papers of some of the things that they had found in the Obamacare bill. In other words, they had read this mammoth thing. And among these few pages, I found the actual salary caps for physicians and nurses. Yeah, that they couldn't earn more than a certain, they couldn't ask for more than a certain amount for, procedure X or procedure Y or procedure, basically a cap for all the procedures, limiting the income that a doctor can earn and also a cap for the doctor's salary as a whole.
Yeah, that is wrong. Hey, Diz. That is a thing. I think that is completely wrong. Let the free market sort it out.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do. Get the government's regulations as far as where these insurance companies and medical companies can do business. Get rid of all of those, and then let the free market sort it out.
Yep.
McDonald's didn't become successful thanks to a government-mandated food insurance policy, did it?
Mm-mm.
Fuck no.
Nope.
Free market.
I drove a friend of mine. She had to go see a doctor. She didn't have medical insurance. There was a doctor close to her that, saw people that didn't have medical insurance. What she did was she charged them, I think it was $60 up front for the visit. And if they needed any labs, what she would do is she would charge them the flat lab price that they charged her. And my friend needed 4 lab tests run, and she only charged my friend $12.
So in short, it only costs the doctor $12 to get lab work done.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, now let's up that to 15 let's up it to 20.
I'll be back in 1 minute.
Right on.
Okay.
Let's up that to 20 so the doctor makes a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the fucking problem?
Insurance regulation, paperwork.
Exactly.
Yep. Red tape.
That's the problem with the medical industry, is the insurance companies. All it covers is catastrophic accidents.
Yes.
It doesn't cover your oil changes. It doesn't cover your brakes. It covers if you get hit by somebody.
Yeah.
And people pay through the nose for that. So they're paying for everything.
Well, you see, and I still say that automobile insurance is unconstitutional. I mean, I don't see anywhere in the...
Acquiring it is unconstitutional. Having it is a good idea.
Oh, yes. That's a different thing. That's what I meant, is that requiring it by law is unconstitutional. The government does not have authority to mandate contracts between individuals.
Yep. But they do with car insurance.
Well, only because a bunch of stupid people bought into it. Only because a bunch of stupid people said, yeah, that's a freedom I'm willing to give up.
And a friend of mine was shopping for a car. She was in her early 20s. She goes, what's the difference between a Beretta and a Beretta GT? I said, about $500 on your insurance premium.
Yep.
She started looking at me. The guy at the cash register started laughing. She's right. My friend goes, how do you know she's right? I'm a mechanic. She's right. It's about $500 difference on the premium there.
Yep.
You're going from a coupe to a sports car.
Yeah, and let's face it, the auto insurance business has used anything they can to up the price of insurance. Mm-hmm. The letters GT, this car is capable of going faster, so we better charge you more.
Yeah, it's
and there's
for the color,
so they're more expensive. Yeah.
What's that fuckwad?
They'll charge you more for the color.
Yes.
Yeah.
A red car costs you more in insurance than a black one.
Yes, it does.
SUVs are more expensive than regular trucks because they're top heavy and can roll over easier.
I mean, it's it makes sense with the type of vehicle. It really does. That I can get behind a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
I can get behind that. I can get behind age ranges for being liabilities. Because an 18-year-old, whether male or female, going to take more risks than, let's say, somebody in their mid-30s or 40s driving the same car.
Correct.
What I don't understand is why the hell you have to run my fucking credit report and factor that into the insurance premium.
Well, it's an excuse to run the credit report to give you worse credit, because that's what happens every time your credit report is run.
It's also a higher premium for worse credit scores.
It's a scam to get you to have to pay more money when you buy a house, buy a car. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just a scam to increase the interest rate. That's all it is. Why do you think businesses have convinced themselves to run credit reports when you want to apply for a job as a fucking cook? It's bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
And on the other end of the insurance issue, especially with automotive insurance, body shops charge ridiculous amounts of money because they know the insurance company is going to chew them down on it. So when you walk in off the street with no insurance, they have to charge you that high price because that has to be their price.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So same thing probably with the medical industry. They have to charge the insurance companies so much, so when you go in without insurance, they have to charge you that much.
And even better, that stuff trickles down.
Yeah.
So now the people selling the parts know that the body shop is charging a high rate, so they want their cut too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, the people making the parts know that the people selling the parts are charging an exorbitant rate because the body shop is charging a big chunk of change. So now they want their cut as well.
Yeah.
And that's how you get prices that go completely out of control and therefore require insurance.
Also, in the case of medical insurance, you've got, part of that particular thing that you're paying into is to help with, what's it called? Malpractice suits.
Yes.
They haven't, no matter how hard they try and make it to sue for malpractice, there's always somebody that comes behind them and makes it easier. Look, excuse me. It's as much as it doesn't matter how many years of internship or residency they have, doesn't matter how many years of medical school they have under their belt. The only thing a doctor is really good at is taking a look at the evidence as to how, all the problems you're having and make an educated guess as to what your problem is medically.
Yeah,
that's all they're doing. They're kind of like a meteorologist, except for your personal health. They're like, okay, well, these tests came back this way, and they're having this, and this is the problem they're having.
That's why they always say they'll try this medicine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, yeah, with medicine, it's very much fire and adjust, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But Diz makes a good point too, and
it's
even
fire and adjust, and also which
which
pharmaceutical is giving the biggest handout.
Oh yeah, there's that. Well, that's the one they'll start with.
Hmm.
We'll get you hooked on this one first. Oh, you have a twitchy leg. We'll give you this one. Oh, the twitchy leg is fine, but now you're tired. Well, we'll give you this one to give you a little more energy.
Yeah,
now you can't sleep. Well, let's add this third one to help you get to sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
Drugs to treat the side effects, and then more drugs to treat the side effects of that second layer of drugs.
It's a fucking quadruple dip.
Yeah. That's what leads me to my little facetious phrase of, well, my psoriasis is gone, but I have IBS and pneumonia.
Yeah. Lucky me.
Lucky me.
Yeah, well, my headache's gone. My headache's gone, but now I'm a woman.
Yeah. It's like it's like the pharmaceutical companies took a lesson from the Tylenol incident in the 80s. When the guy was putting the cyanide in the Tylenol.
Did they ever catch him?
It's like, yes, they did.
Because I remember all those scares.
We've got my headache's gone, but I'm dead.
As my mother would say, the status of the patient is greatly improved. He died 2 hours ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which they'll put in the report as a therapeutic misadventure.
Yeah. It was like I always had to laugh at my mom. first of all, she started out going to med school. She never finished it because of family obligations and stuff. But she said the one thing she always hates going to the doctor is you'll go in there, you'll check in, they'll take you to your room, and the doctor will come in, and the first thing they say is, "How are we doing today?" And she always corrects them. She goes, "I don't know about you, but I'm here because I feel like shit."
Well,
my doctors always used to annoy me because I'd walk into the doctor's surgery and the first question out of their mouth is, "So what's wrong with you?" If I knew that, I wouldn't fucking be here.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I would love a doctor to walk into my room and be like, "So how are we today?" And I'd be like, "Are you proposing that we split your salary?" Because if we do that, I might be a little bit better.
Yeah. To me, I love kind of honesty depending on where I go. I used to have a manager of a comic book store that used to go, "Hi, how much money can I take from you today?"
Yeah.
Because that was his sense of humor. Now, some people got a little bit mad about that, and other people like me would laugh because you're going into a comic book store to do what? Buy comic books. So,
yeah.
You're essentially what? Getting rid of your money, you're giving it to him. So, with him asking how much money am I going to take you for today, it's completely true.
Yeah. When I finally get around to monetizing, I think I'll put that up. It's like, I'll put something like that up. Like, I know that money, you're getting too much money now and it's getting on your nerves. I'll be happy to take some of that off your hands.
Yeah.
For a price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll charge you $2 and you can get rid of $5. That would be hilarious, I think. No one would get it, and people would be like, "This guy's a complete prick." And I'd be like, "Yeah. It's $3 for a complete prick charge. Come on, hand it over."
Would this be the $3 or the $5 argument?
That's one thing I would love to see. I would love to see the people who put all those crazy ass charges in like your phone and electric bill, interstate charges and all that shit.
Yeah.
I would love to see someone get even with them at a grocery store. Oh, let's see. Loaf of bread, there's an interstate charge of $4.95 for that. There's a surtax and a sin tax and a thumbtack for that equals about 45 cents.
And you've
for
got
that
a gallon
of
milk. Well, you've never bought milk from us before, so therefore there's a fee for being a first-time milk customer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Watching somebody go to the HBA section because, the cough medicine and shit was the most expensive shit in the store next to the beer. And somebody said, "How come it's an $8 bottle of NyQuil?" I said, "It's a convenience fee." So what do you mean? I said, "Well, we're conveniently located on your way home, so the surcharge is for being convenient."
Yeah.
She looked at me. She goes, "I don't doubt that."
Right, it's true though. In this country, we got the big supermarkets like your Tesco's and your Asda's and your Morrison's and your Sainsbury's. They do all the big stuff and you get all your shit nice and cheap. But then you've got the little corner shops, which are usually run by Asians or Middle Eastern people, and you can pay 50p for a loaf of bread at Tesco. You can pay £1.50 for that same loaf of bread in the local corner shop. And it's just literally that. It's the convenience charge.
Diz, you'll need your non-vegan license to buy steak, $80 a month. Yeah.
The ones that always annoyed me though were hunting and fishing licenses.
Mm-hmm.
That to me always struck me as a way of, yes, we know what you're doing. You're trying to exit the system. We're not going to allow that. If you want to go and live in that cabin up in the woods, you've got to have a hunting license. You've got to have a fishing license because it's illegal for you to hunt and fish without one. So therefore, we're keeping you in the system.
Yep. And there are actually some states that make it legal to live completely off the grid, which means if you try to disconnect yourself from the electrical grid, they can come to your house and arrest you.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
What if I'm an environmentalist and I only need solar power because I've only got one light bulb?
Well, you still have to
live in a state where
I know at least in New York, you'd still have to be hooked up to the grid. Grid power.
Wow.
Yeah, over here, if you've got solar panels, they insist that you're hooked into the grid. They charge you for being hooked into the grid, but you're also expected to bleed any excess electricity that your solar power generates back into the grid. So not only do they charge you for something you don't need, they expect you to give them free shit as well.
It's so convoluted.
I know.
It is just, all the laws are completely convoluted, and they're different from each state. It's like what's legal in one state can be illegal in another state. What is a misdemeanor in one state is a felony in another. It's like, can you guys just talk to each other and make, I don't know, uniform laws across the 50 states so we're not all confused?
Speaking of confusing laws, did any of you see Social Rec's video on the gun laws?
Oh yeah, I recommended that one.
That was funny as hell.
I didn't even know. See, I'm gun stupid, so all my guesses were wrong.
Like the first two right, and after that I was just like, what?
Yeah. I had Ronan take it. He got 2 wrong. Because he didn't know, Social Rec's gun laws.
And then the one at the end, it's like, oh no, well this is legal because that's not a stock, that's a support piece for somebody who's disabled. Except it looks just like a stock.
Yeah.
I've always wondered if there's somebody in a wheelchair and they're firing a rifle and they forget to put the brakes on, how far back do they go with the kick?
I don't know.
Because I just have these images of them on a shooting range and firing a rifle. The bullet goes one way, doesn't make it to the target because all of the energy is pushing this person backwards into the wall.
Well, I would assume somebody would probably build themselves a special shooting chair.
I've been watching too much Looney Tunes, that's what it is.
Well, it's like Ronan and I would often joke the first time we were together over 20 years ago that he was going to get himself a 44 Magnum, and he was going to have it in the house for security purposes, and he was going to teach me how to shoot a weapon. I said, oh yeah, and I could just see this scenario. You're at work, somebody breaks in, I grab your 44 because he's armed, I shoot, the police come, the dude's dead with a hole in his chest, and there's an indentation in the wall
on the
back of the weapon because I couldn't brace myself good enough.
Well, that's okay because most of our lawmakers really do have a cartoonish idea of how firearms work. So
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I mean, think about what the fuck? See, I love the previous administration's Biden when he was talking about a shotgun being easier to fire than an AR-15 and that his wife could step out on their balcony and fire off 2 shots from the shotgun to scare off any intruder, not realizing that in his state, discharging a firearm into the sky was what's that word? Illegal.
Criminal.
I think it's illegal in all states, isn't it?
I think so.
We had this conversation a couple of days ago, didn't we, about firing bullets straight up, and if the whole Mythbusters thing. If they go straight up, then they come down, they go ouch, and that's about it. But most bullets don't go straight up; they continue their trajectory.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a bullet fired at a plane horizontal or parallel to Earth, basically horizontally, will fall at the same rate as a bullet dropped from the same level.
It was actually during American Reality last week. That's where the conversation came from.
Yeah. And if you look at it a certain way, and you've seen reels of people just shooting off the gun, quote unquote, into the air, they never put their arm straight up into the air. It's always at an angle.
Of course.
Yeah. Which means that bullet's going to go a mile and a half in one direction and come down point first.
Mm-hmm.
Quite possibly. I mean, we used to, when we would, back when we'd play paintball, we got together for a huge game. There was at the time a pro team who decided they were going to take on all comers. The team had about 20 people on it, and 150 people showed up to take them on. So after that short match, where the pro team got obliterated, I mean, and really they did. It took under 5 minutes. You know, it was sort of decided that they would just be, you know, the team would split up into 2 teams, and all the and everyone else would split up as well, and it would just be 2 equally sized teams.
Mm-hmm.
And the way this place was set up was there was a convergence point in a valley between 2 hills, very wooded area.
Oh.
And that valley was kind of cleared off, and there was a little viewing area. And what we did was we were up on one hill, and we decided, you know, they're way over there on that hill behind those trees. So let's all lob a shot over the trees, and hopefully, you know, 1 or 2 of them will get hit, and they'll be out of the game right away. You know, it didn't really work, but it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of thing you do. If you have it's sort of a Hail Mary thing. If you can at least confuse your enemy with a gun by doing that and be somewhat accurate, which there's really no accuracy to it unless you're a fucking specialist.
Yeah.
That's a bit like the archers in medieval battles.
Ericor, I hate to interrupt you, but look in miscellaneous game chat.
Oh god, no! I've got to go to Discord, and I haven't looked at that in forever.
Sorry.
Misc game chat.
Out loud.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. I wasn't going to bring it up until later.
Oh, did I? Huh? Yeah. I spelled schedule wrong, apparently.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing that was really cool about that game was watching these 2 huge teams converge on that valley. Because by that point, I had gotten a bit sick. Never eat the wrong thing before paintball. And the coolest thing, I was behind this netting that, you know, so the paintballs wouldn't get the spectators. And I'm back there after relieving myself of the momentary illness. And I'm watching the 2 teams converge on this valley, and they're all firing as they converge, and just hundreds of paintballs colliding in midair. And it was fucking awesome. I miss paintball. I wish I was healthy enough to do it again. Maddie Diz wants to know if you still play SDO.
Yeah, we're gonna do it this weekend, this Saturday. We're gonna do Red Shirt Diaries Chapter 1 on my Little Madness live channel.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Do I have to make a new character, or are we gonna roll with what we've got?
We can roll with what we've got, which means you're probably going to be helping me out several times.
Oh, right on. No, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Because, man, I've got I can launch Explodium. That's fun.
The Explodium Extraordinaires.
Oh, yes. Besides, you know, we haven't gotten the group of us together to play that for a while, because that shit was funny.
It was. We're going to miss Wolfie, though, because he's out of state doing his training for his truck driving gig.
Let's hope he remembers where home is, then.
We'll just have to not encounter any opponents with tractor beams.
Goddamn tractor beams!
Oh, tractor beams are a pain in the ass. I'll be the first to admit it.
They don't tend to bother me. It's just not... But I want to go that way, but you're holding me. Okay, I'll just shoot at you until you get bored. And then I'll shoot at you some more.
Yeah, I'll stay in place, turn to face you, and just blow the hell out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because my ship can take it, damn it.
Even more so with mine, because it's built as a tank now, and it's just like, okay, throw your best at me.
Here I am.
Oh, look, sorry, you died.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be fun.
Together for the whole crew to play, that'll be funny as hell. Because like Mitch brings the boom, Maricor brings the zoom. I'm just here. Ronan's the tank, and Wolfie's here to attract trackers.
Yep. Then you got God, how long do you expect that to run? Because I do have American Reality that night as well.
I usually don't run it more than a hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's American Reality at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel. Got that out of the way.
That one is actually scheduled.
Yes, that one.
And spelled correctly.
No, it's not spelled correctly.
Yeah.
And I can't edit while I'm live, so I'm just gonna have to wait.
Yep, that's how it works, man. Nothing cooperates. That's what life is all about.
Yeah. It is. It's gonna be fun though.
But what we were talking about earlier, I'm sorry for interrupting, Maddie. Please go ahead.
All right. I think this Saturday is gonna be fun.
Oh, okay. What we were talking about earlier about how they add all those crazy ass charges with silly ass names to everything. I was thinking, what if there were a slew of people who became professional customers, and every time they went to do business with one of these outfits, we just start adding our own crazy charges.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're going to charge me the interstate sales tax for my telephone service? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to charge you a convenient inconvenience fee to be a customer.
No.
Oh, so you want me to pay on the 1st of the month, but I don't get paid till... You want me to pay on the 3rd of the month, but I get paid on the 1st of the month. It's inconvenient for me to have to keep that money for 2 days. So therefore, $50 charge.
Yep. But your bill will only come to $20. That's a shame. We ask that you please bear with us. Just throw their own fucking lingo back at them. It would be a hell of a contract negotiation, wouldn't it?
Oh, I've heard the stories about people who rewrote their contracts when applying for various things. That they send you the contract out and you're supposed to just sign it and send it back. And people have actually rewrote that and ended up making money off of the companies.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of it this way. Why is it that when, let's say the electric company owes me a refund because they overcharged me for something, and it takes them like 6 months to get it back to me. Why is it after 2 months I can't report them to a credit agency?
Can I just point something? Can I just point something out quickly here? Maddie messaged me in Discord to tell me that you spelled schedule wrong, and then next to it in little tiny letters is the word edited.
That's because I put quotation marks around schedule. I put quotation marks around schedule. That's right.
That works.
Hey, look, I'm tired.
But think about that. Why can't we do that? Like on the job, if your boss owes you a bonus and they're late in paying it, why can't you report your employer to a credit reporting agency? They're late with a payment. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Why is the power so unidirectional in those relationships? What's going on?
Oh, it's like they want when you owe the government money, they will take it as soon as earthly possible. They owe you money, they'll get around to it sooner or later.
Yeah, call Equifax.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if the government are going to take, we'll get around to it. So, okay, then $10 interest a day.
Yep. Then I will be mailing you a bill with the interest rates every month.
Yeah.
Interest rates to be determined at my whim. This is non-negotiable. By engaging in this conversation with me, you agree to the terms of this contract. There you go. You're covered. Fuck them.
Yeah. I had my friend named Travis in high school. Nobody would borrow money from, and I asked him why. He goes, I don't know. I guess it's that pesky little thing I do. I said, what pesky little thing you do? He goes, interest accrues daily.
Yeah, God, wouldn't it just be fun to turn that shit right around on them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean like the comedian. This is like an order of magnitude greater than the comedian who goes to your workplace and heckles you on the job.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, God, hit them with their own medicine, see how they like it.
Yeah.
Again, let's take that literally too. When like we were talking about the doctor who prescribes you one thing for the twitchy toe, but it keeps you awake. So they, yada yada yada. Hey doc, I'll tell you what. Let's hit you with all these opioids and see how it works out. Oh, they're keeping you awake? Well, let's hit you with some caffeine next.
Yeah, because
maybe that'll help to balance out the opioids.
Okay, I'll take this drug, but you have to compensate me for every unwanted side effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's the point in doing all the tests if you can't figure out the right medication right away? Or at least something that's a little closer to the target.
Yeah.
Dosage we can work with tweaking, but you should be able to get the general medication right away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's like when the side effects scare me, because the first time because I suffer from eczema. So the first time they touted Enbrel on the TV, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to it, and they're, it's an immune system suppressor, so side effects are yada, 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 including lymphoma. And I went, cancer, itching, cancer, pass the lotion.
Yeah.
I'll itch.
I've noticed that just about every medication includes the rare side effect of death. And it doesn't matter what it's for. I'm just wondering whether that's legal ass covering, and it just scares the shit out of people.
Well, especially when it's an immune system suppressor. One of those side effects is inevitably going to be lymphoma. Inevitably.
Yeah. My favorite one is the antidepressant that has thoughts of suicide as a side effect.
Oh, God, yeah. Prozac was a great one for that.
The what? What are you talking about, thoughts of suicide? No, that's not how this is supposed to work.
This little pill is supposed to stop that shit.
Yeah, and then those stupid stop smoking pills that never quite defined strange and vivid dreams.
Oh, what's this? I have a tear in my artery? Well, I'll just get in there and put a slice in it instead. That'll take care of it.
Yeah, right.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Did you think we wouldn't notice? Is that come on. Jesus.
I was like one of the last times I visited my grandmother. We went down there and I saw this little bottle, and it was one of the bottles for the pills for your liver, for your cholesterol. I forgot what the name of the damn thing was called. And I said, Grandma, and I pointed to that, and she goes, the doctor checked me out. My cholesterol's a little high, so he gave me a sample bottle of that stuff. I said, you do realize that stuff can elevate your liver levels and really screw your liver up? She very quickly picked up the sample bottle, walked over to the trash can, threw it in the trash can. She goes, I'm too old for this shit, and I got enough medical problems. I don't need to be adding to my repertoire.
Exactly. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. I was like, I think they put my dad on the same pill after. I do realize his father died of cirrhosis of the liver. That's not necessarily a good idea to be giving him that pill. Well, when he comes back in 3 months for his test, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so 3 months, he goes back in for the liver test. Elevated liver function. Duh.
Hang on, he died of cirrhosis. Right, I'm confused. Hang on, he died of cirrhosis of the liver, but he's back for a test in 3 months.
No, my grandfather died of cirrhosis of the liver, and they gave my grandfather.
Right, that makes more sense.
And they gave my dad pills for cholesterol, which screws up your liver. So, one of those where if there's any history of liver problems in your family, then this may not be the pill for you. So my mom decided to tell the doctor, his father died of cirrhosis of the liver. Giving my husband that pill is not going to be a good idea. We'll check him out in 3 months. 3 months? Elevated liver function. They took him off the pill. It's like, hello, duh.
Noisy bastard, I will warn you now, we are live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
We are on a live stream.
So if you want to embarrass yourself, make it good.
Yeah. Speaking of being live, it is time for me to start getting ready for bed so I can actually be halfway awake for my newscast tomorrow morning.
Yes, and no editing your news live on air. That is... She's making it all up. Look.
Fake news, fake news, fake news. Lopez.
Okay, you are not server muted, so I don't know why you are not able to talk, sir. Let me see. You people are driving me nuts.
There's a certain irony to the fact that Noisy Bastard is the quietest one here.
Yeah, because the audio's not working. Nope, you are not muted, and according to my settings, you should be able to talk. So whenever you figure out your new computer, Mr. Levi, sir, you'll be able to talk. And I mean talk. No ASMR, no screeching.
Quick hint. Plug your microphone in.
He's trying to figure it out. Give him a minute. New computer. I had the same problem when I got this computer. I plugged everything up, turned it on, didn't turn on.
It'll usually be us. It'll usually be Discord, and your audio settings in there don't match up to anything else because Discord always installs fucked up.
So I cut off the the power surge protector, unplugged everything, plugged everything back up, turned on the surge protector. It still didn't come on. Then I started looking. This is the first computer I have ever had that has a little bitty switch on the back of the fucking tower. And I went, well, goddamn, there's 2 switches on this thing.
And it took you 4 hours to find it.
It took me about 45 minutes. Not that long, but still.
There is a little bit of stream lag going on. That's because it's saying that my processor is... It's getting overworked for some reason. Yeah, well, normally before I start a live stream, I would tend to reboot my system and just... But I didn't this time, and I've got a couple of my own things running in the background as well.
Well, you know, we have been running for about 3 hours now, too. I mean...
Have we?
So I shall see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
All right, see you, Matt.
Bye-bye. Arrivederci, Avidazine. Yeah, 3 hours ago.
The turkey. Yeah, it seems to go by so quick when you don't have to have a fucking thing. I don't know what the word is.
A running order or some topic that you're going to have to get to 3 topics over the space of 3 hours. So right, well, we've only got 10 minutes left on this one, guys. So.
Oh, yeah, because this is just conversational.
Yeah.
We do what we want. You can't stop us. Table Coon. Great stream, guys. I don't know if we're quitting yet.
No, I don't think we're going yet, although it's... Oh, maybe we'll have to, because it's coming on 4 a.m. here.
Oh, well, Jesus Christ. And that's about, that's almost bedtime. Jesus Christ.
I think we'll go until 4, which gives us another 10 minutes, and then we'll just say, tune in next time.
Let's do that.
Because we don't know when that's going to be.
Nope. That's the beauty of doing these things random. You know, we can just say, hey, you know, you made a good fart joke. Let's go live.
And then everybody gets the YouTube pop and go, oh, fuck, the lunatics are on. And everybody rushes off to watch.
Oh, see, I don't know if I should start the fart jokes or not now, because what if I want to use them on American Reality this week? I fucked it up for anyone watching both shows. But I'll have to go with my current favorite, the kind of fart that makes a stranger sweat. I just love that image.
What I love about it is it goes nowhere but down from there. There's no way of saving it.
Because it seems to revolve around those farts that are extraordinarily humid, without being properly wet.
Yeah, you know, the kind of pungent.
Yeah, it's the kind of fart that makes you turn on your air conditioner.
The kind of fart that even the dog leaves the room.
Table Coon ran up a tactical officer to level 40 during the stream. I'm not Googling cake fart, Diz. You can't make me.
Neither am I, even though I want to. It's probably one of them things like blue waffle. You just really, you will really wish you hadn't.
Yes. You know, the kind of fart that makes your pets look at you like you owe them an explanation.
The kind of fart that makes you the only passenger on the bus.
Yes.
The kind of fart that can melt.
I gotta tell you, when it comes to a fart like that, my favorite time to have that fart is in the car.
No. The best time to have those sort of farts is in them stupid plastic ski slope chairs that they have at McDonald's.
No, see,
because they're just hollow underneath. It's like a big acoustic guitar echo box, and it's just sort of what's a pant ripper beforehand is just amplified, and everybody gets to share it.
No, my favorite pungent, humid fart is in the car. Because you're there going, it's kind of a rainy day and a little bit cold, so you got the windows up, you got the heater on. I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. You got your buddy in the seat next to you, and you got a little bit of music going. It's not too loud, but it's enough to hear. It's at a conversational level, basically, and you let it go, and it's a silent one. And because it is so humid and so heavy, it doesn't even hit you right away, but when it does, you just sort of go, because you know what's coming. But then you think about what's coming, and you start going.
I'm the asshole that when I let one of them go, I roll the windows up and lock
hold
them.
on, hold on, because at this point it never fails. Your buddy turns to you with just sort of a blank look and goes, "What?" Oh! And it is.
Dude, what crawled up into your ass and died?
And he does that thing where it's obvious he's holding his breath while trying to roll the window down.
and that's when that little lock window button is your best friend.
I've used that one frequently. I feel the thing coming out, and as soon as it's out, the windows go up and the lock button's pressed. And everybody's swearing at me. It's great when you got the family in the car and they won't shut up.
Well, yeah, that's a great thing to do to your kids, actually.
The only problem is I do that, and then I've got a daughter who will try and outdo me.
Well, yeah, and then it's a trip to the laundry, isn't it?
Usually because it's sort of like she hasn't got one built up, so she tries to strain one out, and there's usually a follow through.
Oh, damn it! I'm dying over here. The kind of fart that stains everything brown in a 3-foot radius, Table Coon writes in the chat.
The kind of fart that you need the USS Enterprise to restore the atmosphere.
Bounce a graviton particle beam off the main deflector dish. With all the instances of the people on the bridge of the Enterprise, especially in the Next Generation, turning and giving each other sort of that look with no dialogue. You'd think someone would have would have made a fart joke video using that.
Just Patrick Stewart standing up from his chair, letting one rip. Number one, you have the bridge.
I'll be in my ready room. Just every time, right before he says I'll be in my ready room, it would just be incredible. Just
number one.
As he's walking into the ready room.
I just really hope that ready room's soundproofed. Otherwise, everybody at the bridge would just hear him giggling his ass off.
Yeah. Well, you remember the it was a season 1 episode, The Naked Now, that was a knockoff of The Naked Time.
Yeah.
There's one point where he comes out of a turbo lift and does a little skip. Just a single skip. It would have been that's just a perfect time to throw a right in there.
I absolutely love the scene in there where Picard and Crusher, where they both it actually looked like they were genuinely trying to make each other laugh, or they'd shared a joke just before they'd come on stage and they were using that to get the effect. And I actually thought that Patrick Stewart there was one point where I thought he's lost it. Oh no, he caught it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Just something about Patrick Stewart's deadpan face lends itself to the sound of a fart. As long as he's making a quick escape from the general vicinity.
Scotty, beam me up.
Or if it's a big giant fart and you do that thing where it looks like Worf reacts and it looks like he let it out, then you have Picard doing his facepalm.
Captain, as the saying goes,
farts have got to be murder.
Oh, good Lord, yeah. Jesus.
Could you imagine Klingons and Jem'Hadar in a fart contest? Holy shit.
Enough to make a fountain melt.
It's bad enough that I picture Klingons taking a shit by hovering over just a hole in the floor and screaming at the sky to begin with.
I have a question. If Odo farts, does he quiver like Jello?
No, if Jadzia Dax farts, does she blame it on the symbiote shifting position? Or would that be a queef?
Well, do they divide the orifices up? One's for the symbiont, one's for the human.
Oh God! Then how do you explain it during a sexual encounter? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense why she married Worf, because he's probably the one who wouldn't care.
Well, you can just imagine the pair of them having farting competitions.
Smells like lilacs. A warrior queef.
That is the fart of a true Klingon warrior.
Which now I just have strange visions of Klingons potty training their children. Oh, Jesus Christ. So there's a good note to end the show on, because the clock just told. Holy shit, that's weird. Oh, it's like a countdown to fart humor.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of... So, have we come up with a name for this thing yet? To boldly fart where no man has farted before.
In space, no one can hear you apologize. Oh, yeah. Your thruster pack's out of power, so you just let one go.
All right, get all the red shirts in the Turbo Bay in Shuttle Bay 1.
See, now I gotta wonder, because they use, the transporter's got the biofilter. It's all that technology. The transporter has the biofilter, and you got the SARD collectors on the front of the nacelles to collect hydrogen in space. And on the Starship bathrooms, do they have a fart collector so that you could possibly basically fuel the Starship? Fart powered.
I assumed all the chairs had some kind of vacuum through them so that you fart into the seat and it just sucks it up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it goes down to the matter pile and converts it to antimatter to run the ship. This is anti-methane powered starship.
Captain, the fecal matter containment unit is about to rupture. Oh shit. No, that's just that point where you get there and go, oh shit.
And now I just picture Geordie LaForge shouting Coolant Lake. Just a big, oh, fuck! Never mind, I'm not going into this one. I just had this horrible image of Deanna Troi queefing while on her period. and the smell that would create. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, right. she did have that burgundy jumpsuit, so.
Well, yeah, it's like that, the joke about the ship captain who wore brown pants, so, or no, he wore the red shirt so that no one on his crew could see when he was bleeding. And then they come up upon another group of pirates, and he tells his yeoman, "Get me my brown pants." That's why she had that burgundy jumpsuit. It's because that week she was spotting. Apparently, she didn't replicate enough tampons.
Oh God, Deanna Troi on the bridge, free bleeding. And on that note,
yeah,
yeah,
it's all gone terribly downhill.
Indeed, we will catch you all next time around.
Have fun, everyone, and put a cork in it.
All right, guys.
For God's sake, don't fart, you'll shoot some fucker.